better. I mean, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But I did just do a quick recording and it sounded pretty good. So, yeah, hopefully this is good and it's going to work and it's going to sound better. What it was before was the microphone was on like an auto setting and it just kind of kept like fading in and out at certain times, which I just sort of found a bit annoying when I watched it back. So hopefully it's not going to do that now. So I did mess with that last night. So, yeah, feeling pretty good. Big thank you to everyone that just checked out the Wrestling Escape Pods. Very different episodes. Very different. I was on my own. We just did an hour on my own. It was pre-recorded. I recorded it last night. And basically we get really stuck in to the Cody, Sammy, Roman situation. I am pretty much all talked out on that topic now. Obviously, we're going to talk about it more, but probably not on this stream. I mean, we will if people want to, but I feel like we've covered it. I feel like it's done. I feel like we have gone through it from every angle. I don't know if there's anything else we can discuss. So, yeah, just did like an hour on that where we spoke about what I would do. We had a look at what other people would do and threw around like what we liked, what we would tweak, why we think some things would work, why we think some things might not. Just kind of, honestly, we just got really stuck into it, man. We got really stuck into it. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm really torn on it because it was a bit of a serious episode of the Wrestling Escape Pods. But I think, I mean, it was obviously a lot more wrestling focused. I think it's the kind of episode people might enjoy as like a podcast to listen to and just have in the background. And there'll be things you agree with, things you disagree with, just like most podcasts. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if there's like something there, like we could do it on a little semi-regular basis, or if we just go back to normal and we get Tommy back and we just, do what we normally do. I don't know. But if you did check it out, big shout out to you. Really appreciate the support. And yeah, feel free to leave feedback in the comments of that video. It literally just went up. Nice amount of people over there as well, checking it out live. Yeah, good. Really good. So just coming off that. So that's done. We're here for AEW. I do have the cards. Let's click over here. So this is tonight's match cards. Now, I'll admit I haven't seen much about this. It's kind of because I'll be completely honest, right? I was sat there yesterday waiting for Tommy to come onto the stream. And he did mention to me that he might be going out, might have a date. I don't remember us saying 100% that we definitely weren't meeting. So I'm not blaming him at all. Just a little bit of cross wires. So I have been kind of focused on trying to figure out what to do for the Wrestling Escape Pod this week. Like that has taken up a little bit of my time since we last spoke. So I haven't had a chance to really look at this and get my head around this and everything. So we can have a look at that right now. So we've got Mark Briscoe against Josh Woods. So Mark Briscoe back on the show, which is great to see. Then we've got Brian Cage taking on Jungle Boy Jack Perry. We do use the Jungle Boy, don't we? I just saw it there, small, very, very small. It does say Jungle Boy. So Brian Cage against Jack Perry. Then in the center, we got Jon Moxley and Claudio. They are Blackpool Combat Club, but we're not seeing anything connected with Blackpool Combat Club anymore. I don't know if Blackpool Combat Club is completely done. The relationship there, I'm still quite confused with. Like, clearly there's a relationship. We got Moxley and Claudio together. Like, Takeshita is obviously still a part of this, but I don't know what we're doing with Blackpool Combat Club. I don't know if we've come out and said that's it, it's done, it's over. I don't know if this is now just a friendship. I would like some clarity there. It could be something that has played out on Being the Elite, played out on Rampage. Maybe we're just going to silently move on from it. I don't know. But yes, Jon Moxley, Claudio teaming up to take on Roosh and Preston Vance. So there we go. We got that. Then we've got Orange Cassidy, The Acclaimed, and Daddy Ass taking on Jeff Jarrett, Jay Lethal, Satnam Singh, and Sanjay Dutt. We've got MJF. He is contractually obliged to appear in Laredo, so he's going to be there because he's got to be there. I would imagine that's going to be some sort of promo. We got a Wardlow sit-down interview with Jim Ross. That could be fun. I like these sit-down interviews. I had a lot of praise for the Michael Cole one with Charlotte. I don't think we see them enough, to be honest, where, you know, we don't have like outside interference or anything like that. We sit down and we really get into, like, you know, the mind of the wrestler, and we find out what they're trying to achieve, because you can only get a little bit of that when we're backstage. And most of the time, someone will come in and interfere and interrupt. So hopefully this sit-down interview with Wardlow, like, do you remember the Mankind ones? They're probably the best. Mankind sat down with Jim Ross, and those interviews were absolutely fantastic. And they were really important for his career and for that character as well. Mankind sitting down with Jim Ross, absolutely brilliant. That's it when it's done right. I'm really hoping for something like that here with Wardlow. Be good if this was a series of interviews, actually, and not just a one-off. So, you know, this is like a sit down with Wardlow. This week he talks about his past, like, you know, when he first, not when he was a kid, but when he first arrived, his friend, you know, partnership with MJF, being in the Pinnacle, like, really bring people up to speed. Talk about, like, then his match with MJF and when he turns. And then third week could be what the future is going to hold, what he's setting his sights on. Like, those 3 sit-down interviews, if done correctly, could really rejuvenate this Wardlow character, who feels like he does need a little bit of rejuvenating. We've got Renee speaking with Adam Cole, baby. We've got Hangman Adam Page taking on Kip Sabian. And we've got Tony Storm versus Ruby Soho versus Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. I do really love that. I keep saying it, and I'll probably keep saying it forever. I do love these graphics that AEW put out. It's so great to sit here, throw the graphic up on screen, go through the cards, talk about what we're interested in, talk about what we're not too keen on this or whatever it might be, or I hope we get this from this segment. So I wish WWE did that. I wish that we had a graphic, even if it didn't have as much stuff on it, but if it just had some stuff on it, you know, and we could like dig in and go, yeah, I'm looking forward to this. I'm not sure about that. How do you think this is going to go? Normally we only get like a few segments announced, a couple of matches or something. So that's definitely something I'd like WWE one day to work towards. But yeah, that's the cards for tonight. She's not Ruby Riott anymore. She's Ruby Soho, says Melissa. Hong Kong Fooey said Jeff Jarrett's father, Jerry, passed away yesterday. I did see that. Very, very sad news. He had a decent life, though. He had a good innings. Not that it makes it any easier, but, you know, that's one of those that's, dare I say, a little easier to take when she's starting to get on in age a little bit, you know? Like if Vince passes away, for example, you know, it's not going to be the same as obviously when we lost Jay Briscoe, who, you know, passed away in a tragic accident far too young. There's never a great time to go, of course, but yeah, it's one that makes, at least it makes a bit more sense. You know, that Jay Briscoe one was horrific. But Ruby Soho doesn't exist, says Miguel. Have I made a mistake here? Why are we debating Ruby Soho's name? Did I say something wrong? Let's have a look. Ruby Soho. New cats are wild. Ruby Soho, AEW. James Chadwick said, I'd have Adam Cole dethrone MJF, not Danielson. That's interesting. I think Adam Cole is someone that we were just talking about how Wardlow could do with some rejuvenation. I kind of feel like Adam Cole is in that boat as well. He did a good promo when he first came back, but it does feel like he is maybe just lacking a bit of momentum at the moment. When we saw him last time, he obviously had Kyle O'Reilly, Bobby Fish. It was undisputed elite and all that kind of stuff. It's a very different landscape now. And I sort of feel like he needs he needs a bit of momentum. He needs to set his intentions, or at least get stuck into some sort of story. I don't know that he's in a feud at the moment. Could have passed me by, but I don't recall seeing him for a little while. So it's going to be an interesting segment, that is, where he sits down with Renee, and we'll see what or I don't think that's a sit down. I think it's probably a backstage one, so we might not get too much out of it, but we should get enough. Did you hear that Tony Khan announced Ring of Honor weekly show is going to premiere in March on Honor Club? They couldn't land a TV deal. I didn't hear that. No, that's a real shame, that is. I think Ring of Honor going onto TV would have been really good, because Ring of Honor is obviously a very credible brand. I think that you could have given it. I mean, they've got so many people signed to AEW that if Ring of Honor had its own roster with up-and-coming talent mixed in with maybe some superstars that just aren't getting used all that much, maybe your Sean Spears type superstar thing, people along those lines, that you could then put into Ring of Honor, and you've got like the Pure tournament and things like along those lines. Like, Ring of Honor has got some interesting concepts, and it's definitely got obviously a history, a lineage. You could bring in some very interesting previous guests and old Ring of Honor names. Like, I feel like there's a lot you can do with Ring of Honor, and for that to not land on TV, I think is a real shame. It being like hidden behind a paywall and Honor Club is clearly going to mean that it's going to have less viewers than it would if it was on TV, and maybe, dare I say, less buzz. And I'd imagine they'll use a bit of Dynamite, maybe, like, to promote it, and like make sure that it still gets some kind of mention. But yeah, that's going to be a real barrier. That's a shame. I've got nothing but good vibes for Ring of Honor. I really like Ring of Honor. I think it's always been, from what I've seen of it, a very credible wrestling show that has really provided some of the biggest names in the business. And I'm really pleased that it got kept alive. I'm really pleased that it hasn't gone. And so I don't know. I've just got a goodwill towards Ring of Honor. So I hope it succeeds in whatever form it takes. Kian said, "I'm sorry I wasn't there on the last stream. I was shattered." Oh, I know that feeling, buds. I felt tired, but I am here tonight. Yeah, no worries. No worries. Yeah, I was talking about that myself, actually. I said last Monday was pretty bad for me. During the Raw stream last Monday, more towards the end, I felt, or not too bad during the stream, but more towards the end, I was like, oh, really feeling it. And I tried to do a review of last week's Raw, and I'm not lying. I sat here for 2 hours, like trying to do a 10-minute voiceover, trying to do a 10-minute just like talking about what had happened on the show, and at various different points, I kept messing up. And I just got to the point where the video file was like an hour and something long, and it was going to take me forever to edit. And I got to the point where I was like, do you know what? It's probably better I just delete this and start again. So I deleted it, started again, continued to mess up. Because I was just so tired, I just couldn't get through it. I was just like, kept hitting this brick wall, kept hitting this, like, different problems. Like, I just could not get through it. So there wasn't a review for the Raw last week, which is bad. It's really bad. And, I need to ensure that doesn't happen again. So, yeah, that was I can sympathize. I could sympathize. I've been through that. Normally, we're pretty good. I feel fine right now, for example. But, yeah, I definitely felt it last week. James said, on March 2nd, Ring of Honor is going to be on every Thursday, which is Impact Nights. Does it clash with Impact, does it then? Is that going to be an existential crisis for wrestling fans out there? I mean, the thing is, if it's on Honor Club, does that not mean you can just watch it whenever? Because I'd imagine it probably saves the episode straight after, doesn't it? So I'd imagine most people will probably just watch Impact Live and then go to Honor Club and just catch up with Ring of Honor. That would be my guess, if it works that way. Maybe it doesn't work that way. I don't know. Days, thanks for the cast. What would be the best gimmick for a women wrestler? I would like to see. Here we go. It's going to be something to do with Bailey and Ding Dong. I would like to see Bailey in the army. I would put her in a military position. Nice. I see what you've done. We all see what you've done. Very good. I mean, I'm not even going to bother answering the question because, I mean, I've long caught on to what we're doing here. You'd think that I'd just stop reading them now. But you make them quite entertaining in all fairness. So credit to you, Godfathers Ho. It's fun to see what your next one's going to be. Undercover Manager said, the card tonight is pathetic. Not one match looks like a main event. Nothing stands out. Tony needs to sort things out to get the numbers up, not harm them. Chris said, it was great. Tony the Tiger, but watched NXT with my lady and smoked and ate. Very nice. Big Time Back said, Fightful reported Tony was hoping for a TV deal with Warner Brothers, but because they're under-delivered with Rampage, they're not interested in more content. That's it. That's very interesting then, because we've been making the, not argument, but the counterpoint of, is Rampage underperforming? Because how can you say someone is underperforming if you don't know what the expectation for it is? You know, for example, that time slot could historically have constantly churned out ratings of 300,000, 350,000 views. And that's what that time slot gets and what's expected to get. And then all of a sudden, Rampage's 400,000 views don't seem so bad. So, like, for me, it's very hard to know if something's underperforming if I don't know what the expectation for it in the first place was anyway. You can definitely look at Rampage and say it's fallen. I mean, at one point it did over 1 million thanks to CM Punk, which, you know, now you look at it and go, wow. You know, Rampage doing over 1 million now is like, wow. But because they started so hot with that, and obviously people tuned in at the start to see what it was all about anyway, just intrigue. Of course, it's naturally fallen and found a place to settle. But yeah, this is one of the first times I've heard it actually be said that Rampage is underperforming compared to expectations. So that is very interesting. That is very interesting. I wonder what those expectations are. I wonder what the number is that Warner Brothers are hoping that would be delivered, you know. Kieran, shout out to you. Appreciate the support. In fact, I have just set up a member stream. I keep talking about it. We are going to do one week tomorrow. We're doing a member stream. I really want to do a couple a month now, and I want to do them every 2 weeks. And I feel like we found something of value that we can do, that I'm excited about. It's ticking every box. It's involving you guys. It's not going to result in me waffling away. I know exactly how many videos I've been sent. I know exactly how many audio clips I've been sent. I know exactly how long to spend on each one, type thing. We tried Discord, and the problem with Discord is it's kind of exciting talking to someone live. And then, like, you know, you just naturally, you don't want to cut them off after a minute or 2 minutes. You know, they've been kind enough to call in. So you don't really want to be rude and cut them off. You want to have a chat with them. But the problem is then you don't get to everyone, or the whole stream just goes on forever. So this way is better for me, I think, because this way I still get people's thoughts, and we still get to talk about what people are, you know, theories, thoughts, opinions, news, whatever. We still get to like react to that and everything, but it's just a lot better structure. So yeah, we're going to do that in about a week's time, just over a week. So that is member stream coming up. James said there's no time slot for Ring of Honor, but I've already got Impact MLW. Hang on, let's go up. I've already got Impact MLW OVW on Thursdays. That's a lot, James. That is a lot. Thursdays are quite busy for you then. Is it a case that a lot of shows get out of the way of Monday and Friday because of Raw and SmackDown, and they get out the way of maybe AEW on a Wednesday? It's like Thursday an especially busy night for like those, dare I say, smaller promotions. You know, they're not WWE, they're not AEW. Do they like gravitate to a Thursday and there's like a battle on a Thursday night war between MLW and OVW? MLW is awesome, said Chris. Elizabeth, hello. Shout out to you. I hope you are well. Undercover Manager said, Tony Khan needs to learn how to book properly. I'm deadly serious. Why does he not at least take on a consultant to give him a better understanding of how to book, like Cornette, but just as a consultant? Well, I mean, I don't think Cornette would obviously be the right way forward, because Cornette is someone that doesn't agree with a lot of what AEW does. And so what AEW are trying to do is not in line with Jim's vision of wrestling. And they're not trying to be in line with Jim Cornette's vision of wrestling. They have got a different idea as to what it is that they and their audience want. And it's something that doesn't align with like Jim and what he was doing. Now, I believe they tried to contact Jim before they started, but had he have accepted their offer, I think it's clear to see that he would have gone very quickly after. He would have walked out very quickly after. So I think they wanted experience at the start. I think they wanted that guidance at the start. My guess is that Tony has got to the point now where he's been doing this for, a few years. He's done the cycle a couple of times now. He has had things that have worked. He's had things that haven't. No one knows AEW better than what he does. And he's probably just looking at it thinking, I've got this. I know what I'm doing. I know what pieces I've got to play with. I know what the AEW fan base enjoy because we've given it to them in the past. And for whatever reason, he just doesn't seem to be able to deliver it right now. I don't think that's unfair. I'm not seeing like AEW shows getting like universal praise and the ratings going bananas at the moment. So I for whatever reason, maybe he's just working. Maybe we're just in a bit of a phase where we've got pretty much Revolution locked in, which is the start of March. It's a couple of weeks away. So could it be a case that in Tony's mind, he's like, right, I know what I want for Revolution. I know how we're going to get there. We're pretty much there. We're a couple of weeks away. I think is not next week, the week after, maybe the go home, maybe. I think it is. I think not next week, but the week after is the go home show. So at this point, you wouldn't be doing like a great deal. At this point, we're well into the stories and the feuds that we need to be into in order to build for Revolution. So I think I can only presume he's thinking, well, I know what I want. I know where I'm going. I know what I'm doing. I'm building towards Revolution. And as soon as we get to Revolution, we're going to do this, this, and this. And that's going to launch me into this. I think what's just happened, and again, people feel free to disagree, but I think what's happened is that he's built towards the last show. I think that last show was meant to be a reset, and I don't think the reset has worked. I think he's tried some, and it's not worked, and that's fine. You're going to try loads of things that don't work. I mean, we can sit here and do the rest of the stream just talking about things Vince McMahon did that didn't work. So, he's tried putting the belt on MJF. Debatable as to whether that's worked. He's put the belt on Jamie Hayter. I really like Jamie Hayter, but is the women's division strong enough for that to be of any value, of that to be of any significance? It's one thing to put the belt on Jamie Hayter, but if she's got no good, credible opponents or good, credible feuds or good, credible stories to tell, then it doesn't really matter who's got the belt. You could have the belt on Sasha Banks right now. Mercedes Moné could be in AEW if she's having to have matches with Anna Jay and the Bunny and Ty Conti and people like this. Like, you're not going to get much out of the women's division. You've got to build up interesting stories, interesting feuds, and all of that. And seemingly, for some reason, we just didn't have that after. The other thing as well is you never quite know if there's injuries. You never quite know what's happening backstage. There's a few things that could be going on that we're not privy to. Injuries, obviously, being a big one. I mean, we know Thunder Rosa was meant to be the women's champion. She then obviously had to step away, forfeit the title. Obviously, we've had Kenny be injured and be out for a long time. Brian Danielson. He has been out injured. Adam Cole. I mean, injuries have savaged this AEW roster. So, I mean, I'm not making excuses for him because it hasn't been good enough. And I think a lot of AEW fans, I think, would agree because, I don't know, it just seems a little flat at the moment. But we are building to Revolution. I think that could be another reset. And then we'll see kind of where we go after that. That's kind of my feeling, my reading of it is maybe it's just a case of let's get to Revolution. And we'll do this, and we'll go to the moon. To the moon! Matt, shout out to you. Matt says, when wrestling gets boring, I like to imagine alternative timelines. God, we've got so much to talk about with this timeline. I just did an hour on Cody, Sammy, and Roman. So now we're going alternative timelines. Do you remember the time when a drunk Hulk Hogan got his dong out live on air? I mean, I don't. And obviously, if he had have done that, I mean, WWE was been... I don't think at any point that would have been acceptable. I mean, even if they blurred it on TV, you've still got the live audience, haven't you? It's weird, isn't it? Because, like, I mean, you had women that were getting their boobs out. I'm thinking, like, Sable pretty much got her boobs out. I mean, they were out and there was just the handprints on. I'm thinking about the cat, actually. Didn't the cat actually get her boobs out? I seem to remember there was, like, a mud fight thing, I think it was. Was it? I don't know if it was mud or what it was now. I can honestly say I have not gone back to that match, but I do seem to recall that she wins, gets out of this pool, is standing there and like whips her top off or does something, and she is like naked. And then Sergeant Slaughter, like for the briefest of seconds, and then Sergeant Slaughter has to cover her over with a towel. So, you know, the idea of Hulk Hogan getting his dong out is obviously preposterous. But we have had nudity in WWE. So the idea that it's like a PG product, we can't have nudity like that. I completely agree. It has happened. And it wasn't blurred. Clearly, there was going to have been kids there. But boobs are not as offensive, are they, as dongs? I mean, dong that's a different level. That's a different level of offensiveness. It's so offensive. You clearly wouldn't get away with that. Boobs are, it's kind of weird, isn't it? Because like boobs, you can... I mean, like, you don't really get away with it, but it's sort of, you can get away. It's seen as, I think, naked breasts, boobs are seen as cheeky. Naked dongs are seen as pervy. You ain't getting away with that. And nor should you. So I think what we're taking away from this is more boobs. Brenton said, I can't help think AEW is screwing up Mark Briscoe and Tony just brought him in. Why is Mark feuding with the Fame lawyer on Rampage? Blah, says Brenton. Blah. I can't... Oh, read that one. Armageddon 99, I won't forget it. Cat did get them out, said Alex. Yeah, I mean, pretty wild, isn't it? Pretty wild that in WWE we did actually go that far. I mean, I suppose it's not the biggest surprise because Jerry was constantly screaming out puppies, and we constantly had those types of segments and bra and panty matches and all that kind of stuff. So the fact that it did go that far on at least one occasion is obviously, I suppose it shouldn't be a surprise. But when you think about WWE, where it is now, do you know what I mean? Like, it is crazy that we were there. But I think this is where there's a lot of conflict, because there's a lot of fans of wrestling that to them, that is like, what they enjoy. They enjoy the women going that far, being that risky. They enjoy the bad language. They enjoy a more mature product. I mean, that's what it comes down to, isn't it? It's a more mature product. Everything's a bit more extreme. Like, you've got women in WWE now wearing next to nothing when they wrestle. I mean, even when they're not wrestling, I think we all saw what Bianca was wearing on Monday. I saw Montez put a tweet out saying, like, find it yourself, but basically God is good. And it had a picture of Bianca from Monday, and next to it was his smiling face, like he was pleased as punch. I kind of think like there's a large number of people that really want WWE, but turns up past 11, 12, 13, 14. And we definitely did go there at times in the past. But that disparity of where we were and where we are now, that's what's allowed AEW to come in. Not that AEW do that, but AEW have definitely looked to pick up those lapsed fans that want something a little bit more extreme. Hence why you see blood on such a regular basis in AEW, and you see, the promos being a bit more gritty. Like, it sort of feels like they are trying to push the envelope a bit more than what WWE are trying to do, because AEW are trying to cater for that lapsed fan. I'm worried for Kevin. No one is talking about him. Everyone talks about Sammy. Kevin can't miss Mania. What would you have him do, said Nelson. Well, I would have him go after the tag belts. I've just done a video about Sammy, Cody, Roman, WrestleMania. And I must admit, one of the things that kind of came through that was people going, you're forgetting about Kevin. Like, you've got to complete Kevin's story. And I do find that a little bit strange, only because Kevin has definitely been wronged by the Bloodline, but a lot of people have been wronged by the Bloodline. So I sort of feel like if you take the head off the snake being Roman, right? If you chop him down, beat him, take his titles, I sort of feel like that completes a lot of people's stories. A lot of people tried and failed to beat Roman, and they were cheated as they tried to beat Roman. Look at Drew. Drew at Clash at the Castle was cheated as he tried to beat Roman. And of course, we know that Kevin has been cheated as he's tried to beat Roman. There's, Ray, AJ Styles, Daniel Bryan, Edge, Riddle. The list goes on and on and on of people that have tried and been cheated and failed to beat Roman. And Kevin Owens, to me, is just one of those. He's not anything different. He's just one of those names. I can't say that Kevin deserves something from Roman any more than Drew McIntyre does, right? So for me, if Sammy does beat Roman, or even if Cody beats Roman, as long as Roman loses his belts, right, and he gets knocked down a few pegs, I think all of those people there'll be a degree of justice. There'll be a degree of, thank God it's over. Thank God the bully has been beaten, basically, So I sort of feel like that, they get something from Roman losing, be it Sammy that does it, be it Cody that does it. I think that, they get something from that as well. Because to a degree, justice will finally have been served. The bully that has the belts no longer has the belts. What do you do with him at WrestleMania, though? Well, I mean, honestly, I am of the opinion that if you wanted to, you could start him in a feud with someone else. I mean, I think his feud with Roman is done. I think his feud with the Bloodline is over. I think he tried at the Royal Rumble. Obviously, he couldn't succeed. The numbers were too great against him. And that's how it's always been. That, it was no different again at the Royal Rumble. In fact, you could make the argument that his loss was a bit more quicker and a bit less dramatic than some that we've seen in the past, because obviously they wanted more time for what was going to happen after. So I sort of feel like he tried. He didn't succeed. It's no shade on Kevin. The numbers were never in his favor. And so if he was to now move on to a new feuds, it just naturally would flow. It just naturally, he could now get into an argument backstage with someone and it would be absolutely fine. I don't think they're going to go that way, because I think they're going to want something for the Usos to do at WrestleMania. We all know that's the rumor. Like, everyone's expecting it to be Kevin and Sami versus the Usos. I personally wouldn't go that way. I don't mind Kevin wanting to just get a bit of revenge. Like, okay, Sami's going to go, or Cody's going to go and deal with the head of the snake, right? The head of the table, the head of the snake. They can chop that off, but I still want my piece of flesh. So he could have a match with Solo Sikoa, and he could face Solo and try and take Solo down at WrestleMania. Or he could have a match with the Usos. And again, I'm just not of the opinion that it needs to be Sami. I'm not of the opinion that Sami is the one that needs to be by his side. I do understand if Jay is going to cost Sami this Saturday, I do understand why the argument would be that we need Sami by Kevin's side. But it doesn't have to go that way. And, it could be Riddle and Kevin that go for the tag belts. I think Riddle, who has, not only has he, quite a few times come up against the Bloodline, it was the Bloodline that took Randy Orton out. It was a match against the Bloodline that resulted in Randy Orton going off for surgery. And it was those guys, Roman interfered during that tag title unification match. So they lost their belts. Riddle lost his partner. You can make the argument that Riddle has been quite flat and directionless. He had a good little feud with Seth, in all fairness. But, I mean, he was red hot when he was in Arcade Bro. I think Riddle lost a lot thanks to the Bloodline. And, again, no one ever talks about where's the justice for Riddle. Where's the justice for Riddle? It's always like, where's the justice for Kevin? And all this kind of stuff. So this is what I'm saying. There's so many people that have been wronged by the Bloodline. If I was booking, I think I would do, I've said this so many times. I would do Sami Roman night 1. I would do the winner of that faces Cody night 2. I would have Sami and, no, I wouldn't have Sami. I'd have Riddle and Kevin against the Usos. I think I'd do that. Or I don't mind Kevin taking on Solo. But equally, I just don't think it's a massive problem if Kevin goes and, gets engaged in a completely different feuds and doesn't do anything with like the Usos or with Solo. I just don't think that's a problem. I think if you give Kevin a good story to get his teeth into between now and WrestleMania, it doesn't really matter like necessarily who it's with. I mean, he could engage in a fantastic feud with Austin Theory. Do you know what I mean? He could get into a great feud with Austin. Austin Theory could win at the Chamber, and then Austin Theory could, be bragging about how he's the greatest. Kevin Owens' music hits, comes down and says, I've had that belt once before. I want it again. And we could go into a very interesting feud with Kevin Owens and Austin Theory. So I don't know if I'm in a minority, but I think there's lots of options on the table for Kevin Owens. I think there's lots of different directions that you can go. I think WWE could do Roman versus Sami versus Cody in a triple threat, said GWL Wrestling. GWL Wrestling, shout out to you. I mean, all I would say is we cover the triple threat. We cover... Oh, man, we cover pretty much anything. If you... Cody, Roman... I know I keep repeating myself, but Cody, Roman, Sammy... I can't stress this. Oh, I've just done an hour on it. An hour video. It's over on the Wrestling Escape Pods. We really dig into stuff. If you enjoy that conversation, then I think I genuinely think there's a good video over there on Wrestling Escape Pod for you, because there's an hour where I get a bit of abuse. It's always fun to see, because I literally I've put a tweet out and I just go through the responses, and it's just a case of like, well, I like this, I don't like this, I'd do this, I wouldn't do this, and I just sort of give my thoughts as to why. I think what I really try to do is not just sit there and go, nah, I wouldn't do that. I mean, who wants to see that? Who wants to? Nah, I wouldn't do that. Why wouldn't you do it? Explain in detail why. Why would you do that? Why wouldn't you do that? Justify everything. And that's exactly what I set out to do, is justify everything. So, as I said, I think it's really good. But it doesn't change the fact that I believe WWE are going to have Sammy lose. And I think it'll be Sammy and Kevin against the Usos at WrestleMania. And, that's what's being speculated, reported, rumored. It just doesn't do it for me. It really doesn't. If Jay costs Sammy at Elimination Chamber, and I'm still uncertain as to whether Jay can be in Canada or not. I think James just mentioned that he has been in Canada, so it seems like he can be. But obviously with the Usos and DUIs, things like that, it's a bit sketchy. But if Jay costs Sammy at Elimination Chamber, which is probably the most expected outcome, then I understand the argument of, right now, Sammy needs revenge on Jay. He needs revenge on Jimmy. Cody will go after Roman. Like, it does seem and feel like it's going that way. But it doesn't change the fact that the end of Sammy's story, this amazing story, cannot be winning the tag titles. He has got, I think when you started the story, that might have been acceptable. You might have looked at that and gone, okay, we can do that. That's good. So we'll build Roman for Cody, and we'll have Sammy involved, and we'll try and get him to the Usos, and we'll get him to the tag titles. On paper, that looks brilliant. The only problem is Sammy has got mental over, right? He has gone bananas over. He has gone crowd chanting his name, Usi chants, been involved in several incredible segments. I mean, what WWE have done is given Sammy an opportunity so that he can get himself into a good match at WrestleMania against the Usos. And he has killed it. He has killed it. He has Daniel Bryan'd it. And now people are like, I think Fightful did a poll, and they had loads of responses. Do you want Sammy involved in the main event of WrestleMania? 70% said yes. 70% said yes. Now, maybe that's not quite Daniel Bryan numbers. Daniel Bryan might have been 80, 85, 90. Who knows? But 70% of people that answered this poll, which I believe was a hearty number, a hearty amount of people, want Sammy to be involved in the main event of WrestleMania. This is what I'm saying. Him going and competing for tag titles, it's just not going to satisfy. It's not going to be enough. Yeah, he gets revenge on Jay, who might cost him at the weekend. It's not enough. It's not enough. It might have been enough when you started this journey, but it's not enough now. And I know that's not the end of his career. We can move on and, get him somewhere. But are we going to keep him this hot? Is he going to stay this hot? Is he going to stay as hot as he is now? I don't know. Matt said, when wrestling gets boring... Oh, wait, we answered that one, Matt, didn't we? Am I stuck in the past? Mitchell! There we go. Oh, I was stuck in the past. I was in an alternative timeline, Matt. Mitchell, shout out to you. Said, I personally don't care for Lacey Evans or Chelsea Green's characters, but of the two, who do you think will get over first, if any? Chelsea Green. Chelsea Green, definitely, because Chelsea Green is... She is getting backstage segments where she is being an annoying Karen, right? She hasn't had multiple refreshes of her character. To my knowledge, she hasn't said anything controversial on social media. She's got that kind of new, fresh face about WWE vibe about her, you know? I mean, we haven't seen her for a long time. She had been in before, but only for the shortest of time. So even as someone that's watched as much WWE as I have and we have, I still don't feel like I really know much about her. I've not watched her outside of WWE, so I'm sort of learning. I mean, I know she had this kind of twisted bride, runaway bride, whatever it was, kind of gimmick. I've seen the images on social media where she's in a dress and her makeup's all smudged and, you know, she looks like crazy. They've not gone with that. They've gone with like a Karen, like I'd like to see the manager type thing. And I actually think there's quite a bit of scope. There's actually like quite a bit you can do with that. It'd be very interesting though if she did want to see Adam Pearce's manager. I'm guessing that would be Triple H. Like you could have some. This is what I'm saying. You could have some really good fun. Like she's butting heads with Adam Pearce. She could make Pearce's life a living nightmare. And we could get to the point where, you know, next week, Chelsea Green is going to have her meeting with Triple H. Like, that would be a fun segment where we actually see her going to Triple H to air all of her grievances. You know, what would Triple H's response be? And I feel like there's quite a bit you can do with Chelsea Green. Compare that to Lacey Evans, right? Who I'm actually not down on because I think WWE needs monster heels, and we are seeing them building up Piper Niven at the moment. So I think Piper Niven's being built up. I think Chelsea Green is someone that's obviously just arrived and in the process of being built up as a heel. But Lacey Evans, I think, can still serve a really important role, and that is a credible heel. I mean, she's not really a monster, but her military background is something that's always been very interesting, you know. The fact that she is military and trained and it's easy to present her as a killer, it does make you wonder why they didn't do that from the start. It does make you wonder, like, why was she coming down in that dress? And, like, you know, do you remember when she first arrived, she would walk down the ramp, like, do a little twirl and then walk back up again, and that was it. She never said a word. She just used to come down in this, like, in her dress and whatever, and she was a bit like a pin-up girl, I suppose, like the kind of girl that you would have seen on the side of aeroplanes in the 1950s. She was kind of like that. But, I mean, it didn't really lean into her military backgrounds. Now we are, and I think the vignettes have been good, and I think there's definitely things you can do with her. But the problem is we've reinvented her so many times that when she comes out, I think initially people's reactions are, oh, it's Lacey. That's people's reactions now. People are tired of Lacey. They're not tired of Chelsea, but they're tired of Lacey. It's like, oh, this one. Because we've tried a few things. It hasn't worked. Some of the stuff we've done has just been a bit cringe. I mean, honestly, I'm sorry to say, but her standing there going, right, here goes. And then she like just spills out her innermost darkest memories. And do you know what I mean? Like you're in the middle of watching a wrestling show and you're watching something, you're like, oh yeah, that was a good match that was, or funny segment, that's the Miz. And then we go backstage and she's just standing there going, right, here goes. And then boom, goes off into like the most horrific childhood stories. And you're like, gee. You know what I mean? It was like bringing down the mood here, kid. So, you know, that just didn't seem like it fit. It just didn't. If you want to do that type of thing, you had to present it better than they did. The presentation of that was horrific. It was horrific. Having a stand there like a hostage video, doing like spilling out her innermost feelings and thoughts just randomly throughout the show was just a horrible presentation. Horrible. And I don't think that helped. And then having her come out like she had, you know, overcome cancer or something. Like when she did all of that, she came out and she was like, they had her like celebrating in the entranceway. And she was like, yeah. I remember at one point she jumped on the railings and she was like, It's like the end of Rocky. She's going, yeah. Yeah, she hadn't done anything. She hadn't done anything. We hadn't seen her. She'd just been like sharing her darkest. It's like she'd read a diary, and then she came out and she was like, yeah. And the crowd were like, and that was it. It didn't lead to a match or anything. We were just meant to like applaud her bravery for sharing her innermost thoughts or something, but it didn't land. It didn't land. I'm sorry, it didn't land. If you was touched by it and it warmed your cockles and it warmed your heart, then great. But with the masses, I just don't think it came through. I just think the presentation was completely wrong. So we've misfired with her so many times that I just think we need to commit to this one. We need to make it cool. We need to give us some good, credible moments. We need to give us some good, credible backstage moments. Put her in an interesting feuds. Have her cut some interesting promos. Make it a little bit personal. Like at the moment, she's having a pop with the fans, and she's actually been talking to the fans quite a bit. Have her talk to a wrestler, right? Have her talk to someone else, rather than like, right, here goes, going to tell you everything, and then boom, out comes all of her darkest secrets. Or she'll get a microphone saying how we don't respect her and we don't respect the military. Like, she's been to have her talk to another wrestler and get into a feuds and actually go back and forth with them and give us something interesting to take a look at. So at the moment, they've got her like choking people out with the Cobra Clutch, which is good. It's a good move. And I think there is still a way forward with her, but that's a much harder project. It's a much harder thing to do. If you did go into creative and they're like, right, first day, we want you to sort out Lacey Evans, you'd be like, are you sure? Kind of bring the Undertaker back or something. You want me to sort? You would be like that. I mean, I think you'd do it. You'd find a way forwards. You'd make it work, but you wouldn't be doing cartwheels about it. Right, but 9 minutes to go. 9 minutes to go. I was thinking, do you think they're going to bring in Sergeant Slaughter to be Lacey's manager, said Planet Damn. They keep mentioning the fact that she uses Cobra Clutch. I think they might. I think they could. The only thing I would say is that Sergeant Slaughter's quite old now, and he's a bit of a gimmick as well, isn't he? I mean, like, he is... I don't know how you would do it. I don't know how you would present Sergeant Slaughter as a because she is serious. She's not fun or funny. She's seriously going out there trying to hurt people, berating the fans, right? She's trying to be a heel. She's trying to be MJF, right? She's trying to be straight up heel. Sergeant Slaughter's kind of, I don't know. When I think of Sergeant Slaughter, I just go, I mean, he goes around liking everyone and following people on social media and all of this. Like, I don't see him. I just see him as an old legend who is awesome. Loves Sergeant Slaughter. And I don't know. The vibe I've got for him is this lovely granddad. Sergeant Slaughter. And I don't know how you would kind of present him as credible and in this age. And I don't know how he would quite fit in. Do you know what I mean? Like, if he was just like backstage in his garb and he was in his like military uniform, I don't know. It could come across as like one of those, like backstage legend segment that's a bit cheesy. Like the poker game where it's all just a bit silly. Do you know what I mean? Like, you've got like some of the interactions are just a bit silly, like $1 Million Man losing his money and then IRS taking it away. Those kind of just little backstage things. He might just come across like that. Do you know what I mean? It might seem like a bit forced, a bit out of place, a bit not credible, just not credible. I don't know how you would do it. In fact, if I was to do it, and this is a bit out there, I think I'd have him on an army campus, I think I'd have him on an army campus and we would see Lacey going to visit him and he would be there inspecting the troops, inspecting their boots. He would be credible. He would be like walking the line, giving, like, checking on people. And it wouldn't just be like him in a costume that doesn't really look like it fits backstage, just mumbling a few things. I'd have him actually at work doing what he does. Like, you are seeing Sergeant Slaughter in his proper environment, actually going about his work, and doing whatever it is Sergeant Slaughter does in 2023. The character, not the person. The person, I think goes to conventions and does sign-ins and follows people and is a lovely man. But Sergeant Slaughter, the character, he could still be active. He could be in a military base. He could be, the stick under the arm, walking down the line. It could all be very regimented. Like you're seeing the people stamping their feet and walking off, marching off, and it's all very strict. There's no comedy or anything here. And then, like, Lacey can go in saying, "You wanted to see me, sir." And he can take a seat, Evans. And, like, he can give her an objective or something, and it's serious. And I think that would come across really cool, credible. And I think you'd have to present it that way, to be honest. Because just having him backstage and, like, in front of a Raw logo, just a bit, he's just there. Just, that ain't going to land. That ain't going to hit. It's not going to have the punch. It's not going to, you know what I mean? It's just going to be a way of getting Sergeant Slaughter just on the show because it's Sergeant Slaughter. But I think you can do so much more. I actually said I really love the Dominic and Rhea restaurant segments because it's just great seeing wrestlers, characters in real world situations. We're so used to seeing them around ringside, in the ring, backstage. It's great to see them in the real world. NXT does a good job of that. We see people in bars and pubs, and we see people at barbershops and things along those lines. But I think the Rhea and Dominic Valentine's Day dinner, the Thanksgiving one, the Christmas one, that's been brilliant for Dominic. I mean, you could argue that Dominic really didn't get, like, massively over until he got arrested. And look, now people are loving him because he talks about what it was like in prison. And we all know that he wasn't really arrested. He just went to the jail, got released. But he's making out, obviously, the joke is, he was a gang leader. He was making wine in the toilets. He learned loads of skills whilst he was in there. He knows that he's got to keep his boys close and all this kind of, like, that's the joke. But that came out of one of those segments that wasn't even on the show. That came out of the Christmas one where they went round and interrupted Ray's Christmas, the Mysterio's Christmas, and then they ended up getting arrested. So those segments, even though they're just a bit of fun, something for social media, blah, 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 they can really advance someone's character. They can really have big impacts on someone's character. I'd love to see more of those. I'd love to see more different ones as well. Like you could have Seth going to a fashion show, going clothes shopping or something along those lines. As we said, Lacey Evans going to visit Sergeant Slaughter. Like there's definitely things that you could do there that could really add to the characters in the way that we've seen it add to Dominic's. Wrestler with Andy said the Iron Sheik to manage Lacey. Make you humble. He'll make everyone humble. Everyone would be getting camel clutched and everything, wouldn't they? Make you humble. The Sheik, man. Love the Sheik. I don't think he's very well. I mean, he's not the one that runs his accounts. I believe there's someone that runs his account for him. So when he's constantly going off at Hulk Hogan, calling everyone a jabroni, sadly, I don't think that is the Sheik. I think he's been battling health issues for a while. So hope he's doing well. Boom. You missed my super chat, says Corey. Oh, I'm sorry, Corey. Where was that? Don't have it, Corey. What did you say? Just don't super chat it. Put it in. I'll read it. Sergeant could go full-on military sergeant and bark orders at Lacey. Rest of the stable may be called the regiments Always think stables give you more avenues. I like that. And it elevates Lacey as well. Right now, Lacey is just someone coming out, just shouting at the crowd. But if you had some NXT talent that was doing her bidding, that was, as you say, Lacey Evans and, whoever with her, right? I'm sure you can think of some names from NXT. Tatum Paxley would be quite good, actually. I could see Tatum Paxley in a bit of a uniform, black cap and everything. I could see, a couple of girls from NXT and call them the Regiment. I like that. I think that's a great shout. Trini said, my very military husband said he frowns on the making military heroes as bad guys. I don't think he will ever love wrestling like me. Well, I mean, it is controversial, to be honest. It is controversial to do that, and it's a bit of a strange thing to do as well, because the natural instinct is that military and people that serve America are always going to be seen as faces. But if that person is a wrong un, if that person is, who knows, I mean, it might even turn out that she got dismissed or something like this. It might be that she dishonorable dismissal or something. So I don't know. I mean, you could, there are wrong uns in the military. But I can understand why he would be against that. I can understand why he would be against it. All I would say is there's been tons of positive military personas in the past. Right, here is Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett. We are starting AEW. Right, this is the big thing. The Texas Tornado tag match. The Texas Tornado tag match. Moxley, Claudio. Oh no, it's not that one. What am I on about? It's this one. Orange Cassidy, Acclaimed, Daddy Ass, Jeff Jarrett, Jay Lethal, Satnam Singh, Sanjay Dutt. What do I write that as? 8-man tag? I'll put it as 8-man tag. 8. They deserve capital letters. 8-man tag. Boom. Right, where is Corey's thing? I wanted to get back to Corey. Watchmania 21 in Hollywood, said Mr. Delt Jr. Cal L said, it's true, Cameron Grimes has gone to main roster to join Bray Wyatt. Is it true? I haven't heard anything. I'm sure you would love to see Paxley in a uniform, you perv. Here's Orange Cassidy. James, that was sad. His mum made him go to work, not even lying. I've got Just Bleed chest paint on for tonight. Just Bleed. UFC reference. Yo, now listen. Here's the Acclaimed. Here we go. Oh, they're scissoring away. I don't know. How do you? I don't know, man. That is a big miss for me. I mean, he definitely would have checked it first. I mean, it didn't. Do you know what? Didn't even cross my mind that Jeff Jarrett was in this. Obviously, with his dad passing away, the Acclaim come down and use it in the rap and say like, wow, I'm really... he said Jerry was a legend, so that's okay, said Undercover Manager. Yeah. They will have checked with him. Oof. Yeah, well, listen, I mean, I suppose if he's all right with it, why should I be off with it? But man, I don't know, to say that to someone that's just lost their father, I'm surprised it wasn't like, respect to you, sorry for your loss or type thing, something a bit nutty. I'm surprised they went there. Jeff would have okayed it, said James. He didn't take any shots, but he did go in on Jeff and hinted at Karen, said Undercover Manager. Watson said, it feels awkward. I know Jeff is hell, but surely he could get a nice moment. Yeah. It's so strange. Honestly, that's really caught me off guard because my feeling to it is it's made me go, I mean, like, I've literally just, like, it's like a gut punch. Like, wow. To say anything to someone that's just lost their dad. He will have he would have okayed it. It'll be above boards. Blah, 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 blah. But it doesn't change the fact that when he said it, my reaction isn't, yeah, go on, stick it to. My reaction is, oh man, that's harsh. Shouldn't do that. That's my reaction. So even if he has okayed it, that can't be what the Acclaimed were hoping for. That can't be what the Acclaimed were going for. They can't have thought, oh, let's say this because we're going to make a load of people uncomfortable. So that doesn't make sense to me. I think wrestling fans very actually, well, I could be wrong here, but I find them to be very respectful when a wrestler or a promoter or someone like that passes away. Obviously, if they're a bad person, which Jerry Jarrett wasn't, but if they're a bad person, that's different, things will be said. But with this one, it's been very respectful. I've not seen people taking shots or anything. And granted, they didn't just take shots at Jerry Jarrett. Yeah, they didn't take shots at Jerry Jarrett. But I think just anything around that's not respectful is a bit of a, whoa, did we need to do that? That's a miss for me. Are you surprised? Half the stuff the Acclaimed... Are you surprised that half the stuff the Acclaimed has rapped about over the years? I think it's probably me being a snowflake, but I think just anything that's going to be connected with someone that's literally just died, even if it wasn't disrespectful to them, but it is still they're part of a disrespectful statement, like they didn't have a pop at Jerry, they had a pop at Jeff, but like Jeff must be, I don't know, like in my mind, like Jeff's out there, he's wrestling, he's acting normal, he's just getting on with things, so perhaps to him it's just another day. I could see that being a talking point. I can see that being one that when the AEW reviews fire up from the various places afterwards, I could see it being something that people like, was that needed? Was it necessary type thing? Right, it's done. Corey, shout out to you. But Corey, where did Corey put that comment in that was apparently super chatted? I didn't see anything. I wrote some on Twitter, says Corey. Yeah, but what was the super chat, Corey? What was your message that you put in? Right, we're up and running. We're 10 minutes in. It's, for those just joining us, Orange Cassidy, Acclaimed, Daddy Ass, taking on Jeff and Jay Lethal, Satnam Singh, and Sanjay Dutt. I mean, I gotta tell you, Jeff is in there and he is normal, interacting with the fans. If anything, this is maybe a distraction for him. Crazy that Billy and Jeff were on the roster 30 years ago and are in better shape now, said Wrestle with Andy. It's crazy, isn't it? It's crazy. Maggie said, I must be a snowflake. I didn't like it as well. She didn't super chat. Oh, okay. Rap was trash, said Justin. He called Jerry a legend. Didn't go over the top. Ongoing feud between him and Jeff makes sense. Honestly, go back and listen during the break. It's a work. Jarrett's do business. No, I get that. It doesn't change the fact, though, that when it's said, as I came back to, my initial reaction to it isn't, oh my God, that's amazing. I love they've done that. Like, that's my reaction to a lot of their raps. Like, you know, if something happens like the spy balloons being shot down, are they going to reference that? Like, are they going to reference, I don't know, whatever's in the news? Yeah. But that one is just, I mean, at no point did I imagine that his name would even be mentioned. At no point did it cross my mind that they would say the Jerry Jarrett thing, or I don't know. My initial reaction to it is not one of, oh, I love that. My initial reaction to it is, oh, you know, you're taking a shot at Jeff Jarrett 24 hours after his dad has passed away. Like, that's, you know, you could do a rap about so many things. And if you wanted to honor Jerry, then just say his name and say respect to Jerry Jarrett at the end. Do you know what I mean? Do a rap, spy balloons, blah, 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 Super Bowl, Patrick Mahomes, whatever. And then at the end go, an eternal respect to Jerry Jarrett at the end. You know, that ticks boxes, pays respect. There'd be nothing to be uncomfortable about. But it is true. I mean, Jeff will have signed it off, and you know, it's not. It's business. You know, it didn't hit me in a way I think they intended. We've got what did he hit him with? Jeff Jarrett just hit him with an object. Lethal combination. We got a backhand there by Caster. Plants Jay Lethal. Pencil. He tried to hit him with a pencil. Sanjay is down. We got Bowen going to the middle rope. Jay Lethal comes over. In comes Billy Gunn. Billy Gunn with a clothesline. Lethal goes to the outside. Sanjay Dutt is still down. Billy Gunn is going to deliver some here. We got some scissors in the crowd. Now Jeff Jarrett pops up. Sanjay Dutt has been lying there forever, man. Orange punch by Orange Cassidy. And now it looks like, is Orange Cassidy going to deliver this move? There's a few kicks coming in. Orange Cassidy climbing up. Now Jay Lethal has come in. Last thing I'd say, Jeff is a pro. They both kept in character. He gave props to Jerry, says Ron. Why has Satnam got such a weird forehead? Don't know. It's a win for the Acclaimed. The Acclaimed. Rap side, I think Jeff honors his dad by performing tonight. The show goes on, said Alex. Legend Killer said Acclaim win. 420 Benton said awful match. Guns on the entranceway. So the guns came out. Bowen says we're going to get them as they hold up those AEW tag titles. So a win for Acclaimed, Billy Gunn, Daddy Ass, and Orange Cassidy. Trying to read, I can't read what that sign says. Golden Eye. GoldenEye something. Don't know what it says. Have we gone to a commercial or something? Because I'm literally just watching them in the ring at the moment, celebrating. Normally AEW is like really quick with its match over. Let's go to this. I'm guessing we're still live because Excalibur's talking. We stuck with that nothingness for a while. Did that match end early or something? It is commercial. Okay. Right. I was going to say the match ended, and then I felt like I was watching just ages of them doing literally nothing. Just like, we're going to get the belts, celebrating, walking around. Come on, guys. Yeah. Normally it's like, we always hear about how Tony's like every second counts type thing, you know? Right, here's Bryan Danielson. He's got a few words. MJF is contractually obligated to appear in Laredo tonight. I'm going to hear from MJF. I'm looking forward to the Wardlow thing. MJF doesn't want to be in Laredo. We're going back to the arena. John Moxley. David, shout out to you. What superstar do you want to release in AEW? Not all of them might go. Nah. I don't want anyone released. I'm not really into like talking about who we want to see get cut and all that kind of stuff. I think, just honor the contracts, and if contracts expire, that's, the right way to do it. That's always been a big criticism I've had of WWE, is the whole budget cut thing. You're able to tie these wrestlers down to big deals and multi-year contracts, and then clearly you had no intention of honoring them, because that sucks, man. That really, really sucks. Imagine if you got given a deal by WWE, 5-year deal, $200,000 a year. You'd start making plans. You'd start we've made it. You'd be sitting pretty, and then I don't know, 18 months in, you get cut due to budget cuts. Business in it. Business is business, but dirty business. Dirty business. I think if you give someone a contract, you honor it. And that works both ways. I said this about Sasha. Sasha walked out on her contract, and I was critical of her because contracts should be honored, and that works both ways, and definitely works with the companies. They should honor their contracts. So if they've got someone under contract, you honor it. Done. Bish, bash, bosh. Right, we're actually fighting in the crowd. I don't even know if this match has started yet. We're in the crowds. We're actually going up the stands. It's Moxley and Roosh. We've got shots coming in. So there was a woman there. She was like absolutely horrified. There was like a couple of guys punching each other in front of her. Wrestlers, not just crowd. Oh, look at her in the red. Man, we should just have her at ringside reacting. She's brilliant. Like every shot, she's like, oh. She is increasing my enjoyment of the show. She should be signed. Grimacing and honestly horrified by what she was seeing. She's got a hand on her heart. She's like, oh my God. Oh God. Now she's trying to cheer on Moxley. She's just been absolutely horrified, traumatized by what she's seen. And as soon as they get a safe distance away, she was like, Moxley. Moxley. She was good. Shots coming in on Roosh in the corner. Looking for suplex in by Claudio. Is this match begun? Like, is this a street fight or something? Or maybe it just hasn't begun yet. I don't know. These two getting slammed into a corner. I feel like I've missed why these two teams are fighting. Like, why they hate each other. I remember Roosh fought Danielson. Is that a thing? Is this Blackpool Combat Club trying to get revenge or something for what Roosh did to Danielson? Moxley into barricades. Can see MJF staying in AEW for a long time. No way I can't see him going to WWE. No way. Did like MJF. Did Ric Flair thing was good, said Davids. It's a Texas Tornado tag. Oh. Looking for figure 4. Oh, we've been at a break as well. All of that time. Well, I don't know how long, but we've been at a break. How many matches are announced for Full Gear? We're 2 weeks out. AEW have had 3 months to put a card together. Revolution, I think, is it? Now the bell sounds. How many matches? I don't know, Let's have a little look. AEW Revolution. I think it's Revolution. Revolution is the 4th Revolution pay-per-view that they've ever done. It is 1 match. Yay! It's March 5th. So we are, 19 days away. So that is 2 weeks' time will be the go-home show. So far, we've got 1 match. But in all fairness, that 1 match is a 60-minute Iron Man match. So I'm guessing that means that they're not going to need as many matches on the cards because their shows go at least 4 hours. So that means they're going to have 3 hours to fill. I mean, it's still going to be a big card in it. They're still going to need matches. Guns Against Acclaimed, is that going to be on Revolution? I would imagine so. Wardlow against Samoa Joe, is that going to be there? Jamie Hayter's clearly going to defend the belt against someone.
I never needed you at all. I never needed you.
Rouge, please. Rouge, please. I've got these little things on the chair. They're just little bits that go in the sides. I keep picking at them, I keep dropping them, and they keep rolling off. I don't want to lose them, but they're just fiddle. I need fiddle with things. Rouge, please. Thank you. New York State of Mind, shout out to you. Crawl is out. England 18-1. Come on. Sonny said, my laundry was still there. I put it in the dryer, interpreted my long tarot spread. 2-month divination ban, or else I will be sick. Good big things coming my way, spiritually and physically. Well, that's good news. I didn't understand what half of those words meant, but I believe it was good news. Moxley trying to catapult Roosh into a barricades, and he just sort of flopped over to the side. Matt said, do you remember the time when a coked up Tony stormed out at a Rampage taping, screaming at the audience, telling them that he would sell to WWE if they don't effing behave. I don't, because I don't watch Rampage. And, I don't think that many people do either. So, in all fairness, that could happen on a weekly basis. I don't know that anyone would know. I don't know that it would be reported. It's one of them, isn't it? If a tree falls in a forest and no one is there to see it, does it make a sound? If a drugged up, angry Tony Khan screams at an audience on Rampage, does anyone know?
I never needed you. Oh,
I'll stop messing with this now. Botch. He wasn't coked up. He takes Adderall. Into the barricades goes Roosh. Claudio on the outside as well. Moxley biting at Preston Vance. He's picking him up. Got him in the ring. Forearm strike by Claudio. Eric said, AEW lost me. I hope for sports, not NXT 2.5.
I never needed you. Oh, I never needed you.
Yeah, Eric, shout out to you. It's in a slump. I think they're trying to pull the plane up maybe at Revolution. Rampage needs a new time slot, says Kaleo does everything. And it's got to make more stories and character progression. It just feels like another Dark show. Completely agree. It's you're right. It's got to have a reason. You got to give people a reason to watch. Kick to the midsection. Moxley is bleeding. Yay! Blood. Moxley bleeding. We got a Wardlow sit-down interview. Crowds, we want tables. This is not good enough for the crowds. This action is not acceptable. It's not good enough. The blood's not good enough. Look at it pouring down his face. Are the crowd chanting, this is awesome? Nope. They're chanting, we want tables. Please focus your energy on something else that we want. Blood's coming down his face. I've got the chest paint on. Just bleeds. Well, he listened to you, mate. He listened. They're getting some Moxley bloods, putting it over their fists. If I was them, I'd be really tempted to collect it and then sell it on eBay. That would sell, man. Can you sell blood on eBay? Probably not. But imagine that. Genuine capsule of Moxley bloods. People buying that. It's people buying that. It's people probably drinking that. Sonny would do that. Sonny would drink it. Power slaps on next, said Lone Star Friends. Come on. I was just informed this match is sponsored by the Red Cross. Shot coming in, kick there. Where's Claudio gone? At least they didn't show the blade in this time. I feel like AEW has been in a slump since about July. What can they do to fix the woes? Honestly, just put on a good wrestling show. It's as simple as that. Like, put on a wrestling show. Like, tell good stories, build characters, build your faces, build your heels, and put on a good wrestling show. It's not like, well, okay, you need to get Moxley, you need to do that, you need to do it. Like, you don't need to like go into that kind of level of detail. Just put on a really good story. I mean, this crowd just seemed bored. The crowd are just like, you got Moxley bleeding all down his face. He's being stretched out in the middle of the ring. And the crowd are like, there's even two guys in the second row that are just having a chat with each other. Not even watching there. They were just standing, just having a little chat with each other. I mean, granted, this is where fight is a problem because I see the stuff you don't see because we don't go to commercial break. So for me, I see the stuff like, I don't know where Claudio's gone for the last 30 odd minutes. And I've seen them just having Moxley in that stretch for, quite a while whilst like you lot go over to commercial break. It's no mismatch, says Rom. I think Moxley's spirit animal is Abdullah the Butcher. Special start time for Rampage Slam Dunk. Friday, 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. Right, so Preston is throwing in some awful, awful shots. They are awful. That is awful. Hangman Page against Kip Sabian. Even Hangman's looking bored backstage. Claudio is back in. Roosh is coming in. Claudio wrapping the chain around his hand now. His just glances the head of Preston there with that. Those shots look better. Claudio pounding away on Preston. I wonder if Renee likes to taste it, said Horatio Minds. Again, wrapping the chain around his hand again, Claudio. There's a big Botchamania sign in the background. Even that shot. Claudio is great. Vance is bleeding. I just heard Triple H is giving up on Baron Corbin. Thoughts? I don't believe he is. I don't believe he is. That's my thoughts. My thoughts are that JBL probably wasn't planning on staying long term. And so this potentially could have been the plan. Or it could have been that things haven't quite played out the way that they were hoping. But I struggle to believe that they tried to put him with JBL and it's just not worked, and so they've completely abandoned like this idea and JBL's gone. I get the impression JBL was probably sticking around for X amount of weeks and he's done that. And, now we can look at it and go, has it worked? Has it not worked? And it's not worked. But I don't think that it's like Triple H is like really down on Baron Corbin or anything like this. I think if anything, he's probably down on himself because do you know what? It's his fault. It's his fault. It's not Corbin's. It's Triple H's fault. If he's down on anyone, he should be down on himself. You had an opportunity to put Corbin into some great matches, have JBL at ringside cheering him on, give him wins, give him momentum, give him, some high-profile matches. And, I mean, he didn't, did he? I mean, he didn't even have him win and qualify for the Elimination Chamber. And, I mean, I can't remember what he did in the Rumble, but I certainly don't remember being inspired by it. I mean, he's not going to get over unless you give him a reason to get over. Who is that guy? There's a Carney that's come down. Takeshita. Right, Mitchell said, this match is bad, Moxley is at the point where when someone beats him in rock, paper, scissors, imagine him as a cashier. He'd bleed at every item rung. He's, what was the rock, paper, scissors thing? He's at the point when someone beats him in rock, paper, scissors, imagine him as cashier. He'd bleed at every item rung. He's saying that he gets beaten easily. I didn't get the rock, paper, scissors bit. But the imagine him as a cashier. Just blood pouring down. Grabs your loose vegetables. Boop. It's all over his hand and everything. You'd be like, melon. Boop. Handprint on it. Green tomatoes just ripening up. Soon as he's dealt with them, they're red, covered in his blood. Might make a great cashier. I don't know. You could be really good at it. It might be a really chatting about. You going anywhere nice? Going anywhere and good on holiday this year? Headbutt there by Moxley. Moxley using the chain. Elbows coming into the side of the heads. Whenever they beat him in rock, paper, scissors, he bleeds. It'd be scissors all the time. If you're in AEW and you don't do scissors all the time, they'd be the easiest to beat at rock, paper, scissors, wouldn't they? You'd just be like... Because everyone would go. In fact, you could probably beat any AEW fan. I'd imagine just naturally, their natural instinct would be to go, scissor me, daddy ass. Oh no! Hangman's being beaten up backstage. Oh, he was just watching the show carefully and lovely. Oh dear. Remember when Rouge debuted? Everyone licked his ass. I don't remember that. Everyone came out, did they? What about the audience? I don't remember it. I must have not watched that week. That must have been Rampage. They said he should get title shots. What has he done? They don't just like in around 2 months when Sami Zayn forgot. Meave said, what was that match for? The fans. Hangman against Kip Sabian coming up tonight. John Moxley could be good at a cleaning job. He'd be awful at a cleaning. What are you on about? You could see his boss, blood to his manager, be funny. It'd be awful. Imagine going into a room. You're like, we need to clean this up, John. Come back in half an hour. It's just blood everywhere. Absolutely dripping off the ceiling. Be like, John, what have you made it worse, John? You made it worse. He'd just be in the corner, rip shirt. Okay, here we go. Joe and I shared some personal stories. That's interesting. Can I just say, this is a much better way of presenting this than what WWE did with Lacey Evans. You know, we're seeing a conversation between two people. We're seeing Wardlow talk to Jim Ross, and we're seeing Jim Ross's reaction. Like, this feels more natural because Jim Ross is like, you know, he's talking about how his dad passed away. He's talking about like this, and like, I feel like we're witnessing like a genuine moment here where they're sitting down and they're actually talking. and there's a reason for this conversation. Whereas the Lacey Evans one, just being like, right, here goes, and then going into it like that, just so awkward. This is a lot better. A lot better. He's talking about the how his hair is a connection to his father. Joe. You will not survive me. Yeah, I gotta say, I had high hopes for that Wardlow segment. It really stood out when I was looking at the preview as something that I thought could be a good segment. I think it was. I found that kind of interesting, even though it's funny, isn't it? Because it's very similar to the Lacey Evans stuff. It's, you know, when I was 8, my dad was in my life. He went away. I didn't see him. When he came back, you know, we got to reconnect, but then he had cancer. I mean, it's very, but it's just presented in such a better way, and like seeing like Jim Ross's reaction as well when he spoke about it, and he was like, oh, you know, you can see like Jim's there and they're having this moment and they're sharing this thing, and he talks about how his hair is a connection to his dad. Samoa Joe took that away from him. Good. That was good. Okay, so we've got Mark Briscoe. His entrance is Dem Boys. It says Mark Briscoe on the one side. It's still Jay Briscoe written on the other, which is obviously cool. So it's Briscoe's entrance. Who's he up against? I didn't see. Josh Woods. I mean, not that it's important. It absolutely is not. I'm just wondering out loud. Have we had any clarity as to what's happening with the Ring of Honor tag titles? Doesn't bother me. I'm not sitting here going, what are we doing with them? Right? I'm not bothered. But I just wondered if anything had been said, because he's still one half of the tag team champs. And, you know, obviously at some point we're going to have to do a match. We're going to have to move forward with that. I don't know if that's been something that's been mentioned. The crowd is dead, said Hazza. In simple terms, I can't use my tarot cards, my oracle card, or my pendulum for 2 months. Oh, God. Oh, Sonny, I'm so sorry to hear that news. That's disappointing. I have to rest my spiritual energy to prepare for what is coming. Therefore, I'm banned for 2 months. You'll get through it, mate. Life sends us these kinds of challenges where you can't use your pendulum. You can't use your pendulum sometimes, mate. I've had periods where I've not been able to use mine as well. And it's hard. It's hard, but you'll get through it. Timmy's is there for you, mate. Timmy's is there. William's there for you as well. No, look, joking aside, Sonny, it's good. It's good, innit? If you've got something that you really enjoy and, you know, you kind of giving you like something you're working towards, that's good. The crowd and this show is putting me to sleep, said Big Time. No one is going to beat Roman at Elimination Chamber, says Maggie. I used my pendulum to try and cheat at UFC pit. Oh, it's the pendulum's fault. Can I just strongly suggest you stop using your pendulum for UFC predictions? I do take it out of you on those UFC streams. I'm a cheeky monkey, aren't I? You're a naughty boy. I'm a naughty boy. Right, where are we? We've got 15 minutes until we're at the halfway point. We have got Mark Briscoe in action at the moment, taking on Josh Woods. Tell you what, Josh Woods' ring gear is pretty wild, isn't it? We haven't really spoke about that. One side is blue with, like, are they look like kisses on, maybe? I don't know. The other side is gold. I mean, it does look like he's wearing his boxers, to be honest. Funky boxers, though. Oh, no, it's leopard print kind of a thing. I thought they were kisses. Knee to the side of the head there by Josh Woods. 1, 2, shoulder up. Who's got the better physique, Daphne Moon or Mystic Meg? Come on, mate. Come on. If you're going to spend one night with either Mystic Meg or Daphne Moon, no brainer, is it? Daphne, she was pretty cute, you know. She was pretty cute. I saw that they're apparently not coming back for the Frasier rethink, but thing is, Nicholas Lyndhurst, the Rodney from Only Fools and Horses. I don't know if we've spoke about this already, but he's going to be in the Frasier reboots. And it seems like it's going to focus on Frasier's son quite a bit. Like, this one looks like it's going to focus on his kid, Frederick. And I think Frederick's going to have a girlfriend and all this kind of stuff. So, I don't know. I really like Frasier. I love it. I think it's a brilliant comedy. One of the best ever. Maybe the best ever. I'd put it over Seinfeld. Easily. Because I haven't really watched that much Seinfeld. Friends is really good. But I think Frasier takes the top spot. Difficult. But either way, it's a brilliant show. And it's coming back for a new season, which is exciting. I don't know when it airs, though. Nicholas Lyndhurst, yeah. He, if you've never seen Only Fools and Horses, it's a British comedy show, which a lot of people here in the UK would say is the best ever. And honestly, it's hard to argue that it's not the best ever. It's Christmas specials. We're getting 20-odd million views, which if you think there's only 60 million people in the country, that means 1/3 of the country was watching the Christmas specials of this show, which is Super Bowl numbers. You know, 1/3 of America watches the Super Bowl. 1/3 of everyone here was watching Only Fools and Horses Christmas specials. Like, that's how big this show was. And it was around in the 80s and 90s, more 80s, early 90s. And I think it was done by mid-90s. So it's a little old now. It's definitely going to seem a bit aged. Some of it may not have aged well, but oh god, it's one of those that you could go to anyone in Britain and just go, Only Fools and Horses, yeah. And they'd be like, yeah. Great show. Mitchell said this match. Oh, read this one. I'm always stuck in the past. This match is bad. Moxley is at the point when someone beats him in rock, paper, scissors. Imagine him as cashier. He would bleed on every item. Here is Mitchell's new one. Mitchell says, if we got the cleaner Kenny Omega with a mop to take on Moxley with a blade in a 60-minute Iron Man match, winner cleans all, Omega, winner, bleed, Moxley, who would win? Moxley would win because unless he runs out of blood, he's going to be dripping right until the final second. So, and also, blood on a ring canvas is going to stain, isn't it? Like, getting blood out of a canvas is going to be really not a quick process. So, whilst you're cleaning that up, he's dripping all over the other side of the ring, isn't he? So, there ain't no way that match is finishing and that ring is spotless. There ain't no way. You know, so Moxley would pick up the dub. Dub for Mox. This must be a Ring of Honor match because no moves finish well. It drags out, said Roderick. Tahil said The Office. Breaking it. Pele kick there by Mark. Josh Woods goes back against the ropes. It coming in there by Woods. Upon the shoulders, Mark Briscoe has got Josh Woods. Death Valley Driver. Death Valley Driver as Briscoe goes up top. Briscoe is in position. Elbow drop. Josh Woods said something there. He dropped the elbow. Josh Woods said something. Wonder what he said in that moment. What did he say? Mark Briscoe picks up the win. Jay, I love you, boy, and I'm going to carry on. Yeah, what did he say? He said something as he hit that elbow. Just looking at a replay of that finish. Right, we're backstage with Adam Cole and Renee Paquette. They're sitting down backstage. How have you been? How are you, mate? It's been great. He said he's close to coming back. I love that I can go throughout the day now and not need to throw up, pull over. So he's very happy. Really has got a new lease on life, which is good to see. What does this next chapter look like? Soon I'm going to get the chance to do that. Adam Cole said, I look at our roster right now and I just think it's never been better. He says he's got a few ideas as to who he would love to step in there with. And he said when he does step in there, it'll be good for All Elite Wrestling and it'll be good for Adam Cole. Legend Killer, shout out to you. I've got your shirt on, Legend Killer. Showing support. I've got a question. Where has Miro disappeared to? Where has Miro disappeared to? Of all the people that Triple H has brought back, Miro would have made sense. Rusev got somewhere, didn't he? Rusev Mashka. Rusev Mashka. Bum, 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 bum. Whatever his music was. Coming out in a tank. He got somewhere. He's under contract, isn't he? So can't have it. Right, MJF submitted Takeshita on last week's Dynamite. Jeff. After these messages, we're going to hear from MJF. MJF throws some gum at someone. Laughable, says Ava. MJ Mahomes is here. Tony just said to Taz, what do you want to say about the champ here? And Taz went, well, he's just walking down the ramp. I don't know what you want me to say. This is the gold that you're missing out on. What can we say about the champ here? Oh, he's walking down the ramp. What do you want me to say? MJF has stolen someone's phone. Goes over to some people in the crowd. They're talking some trash to MJF. MJF is having a pop at some guy. Another guy gets a drink thrown in his face. MJF just walking around ringside. This is one of the most entertaining parts of the show. If you're not seeing this, it's one of the best things they've done so far tonight. He's going over to the corner. There's a couple of people taking pictures of MJF. He's posing for them. Took the shades off of his looking into the distance as they take pictures on their camera phone. That picture's going to look sick, man. That picture's going to look great with him standing there, like, looking off in the distance. He gets some popcorn. Someone gives him popcorn. He chucks it. I bet that's not cheap, you know. He's just grabbed that person's popcorn, chucked it all over him. There ain't no way that's cheap in these kind of venues. MJF getting inside the ring. He's thrown drinks over people, popcorn over people, posed for photos, insulted people, stolen phones. If you missed that. We're not even on TV yet. He's just called them dumb, worthless, fat pieces of... You don't like my language? Is it because you got kids in the crowds? He says that the kids in the crowd should have been aborted. I tell you what. If I'm going to be shown... If we're going to be shown anything during commercial breaks, that is the best thing I've ever seen. During a commercial break. That is the best thing I've ever seen. Normally, matches just die and stop and pause. But there, MJF has just wound up this crowd. Whole chance. So he's got them right where he wants them, chanting a-hole at him. At one point in time, these people used to love me. These schmucks used to be devil worshippers. These people are disgusting, fickle little monsters. I turn my back on them before they turn their back on me. I'm the devil. Shut the F up, chant. God, this segment feels so much better, doesn't it? So much better. Poor man's Grayson Waller. You, because you've got these people convinced that you're better than me. And there's loud yes chants from the fans. It's a sign that says mid Jacob Friedman. Big cheer from the fans. STFU chant said LS Dub. Does he entertain you the best, yeah? Does he do the coolest moves? Is it because he puts on 5-star bangers? We don't get into the business for that. We get into this business to become world champion. He's very good. Very commanding. Very good. It instantly feels like, without even effort, the best thing we've seen so far tonight. I really enjoyed the Wardlow thing. But when he comes out, he's instantly getting heat. He's got the crowds going crazy against him. He's very direct. He knows what he wants to say. I agree, MJF. So funny. Not cheap, cocky popcorn and pop get photos. It's about time for cult of personality, said Roderick. I will be victorious. When that clock strikes 0, I will be victorious. You're not the best wrestler in the world, Brian. I am. Swell. Jacob Friedman. This isn't sing along with MJF. I'm better than you and you know it. If you won't take my word from it, then how about we listen to a man that's known Bryan Danielson? Regal? Can't be. Okay. Christopher Daniels has been brought out. I wondered if they'd have got a recording of William Regal before he left. They got him to record something. That's what I was thinking. Then I was like, no. Don't even know if they'd be able to play that, but then I suppose why not? They own the footage. If he recorded it before he left, they would own the footage. But it's not William Regal. It's Christopher Daniels. Taz said he goes to Christopher Daniels for advice. Man that took the drink to the face by MJF looked happy about it. When people love MJF, they're happy to get a drink thrown in their faces. The truth. MJF has paid me an obscene amount of money. So MJF paid Danielson a lot of money, or Daniels a load of money, but he's not going to do it. The truth. Bryan Danielson is set to knock your dong in the dirt. It's quite graphic. He throws the money back at MJF. We need Eva Marie, Sasha Banks, Mandy Rose, Chris Benoit, Tori Wilson in 2K23, says Big Om. Hasn't Taz done this job for years? The only advice he needs to do is to do his best. So it's a good segment. I like how he's brought out Christopher Daniels to rip into Bryan Danielson, and he won't do it. He won't do it. Why is he letting him talk there and say so much? I'm surprised he's not just started beating him up. He's cutting a commercial for Ring of Honor. What happened to Daniel's eye? I don't know, you know. I don't know. I was just thinking the same as he looked in the camera then. His eye is really messed up, innit? Been that way for a while, apparently. Christopher Daniels recently made his return to AEW following Tony Khan's historic announcement of acquiring Ring of Honor. That's March, you know. They've had Ring of Honor for a year. Jeez. But prior to AEW hiatus, Daniels teamed with Frankie Kazarian. During the match, the veteran suffered a brutal eye injury as he got face kicked into a ring post. Upon his recent return, fans have questioned the injury. As it turned out, during Daniels and Kazarian's match with the Young Bucks, Daniels suffered a massive hemorrhage. The veteran was a victim of a kick from Nick Jackson, and the injury has left him a bloody mess. Daniels needed stitches on his eyebrow as his eyeball gradually turned red due to all the blood. I don't know that it's a hell of a look, innit? It's a hell of a look. Low blow by MJF to Christopher Daniels. Working on the arm. Low blow from MJF. MJF pulling on the arm. Daniels is down. Coming down to the ring is Danielson. MJF runs out of the ring. So Danielson chases MJF away, and that's the end of that segment. Sunday, March 5th, MJF versus Bryan Danielson. 60-minute Iron Man match. Right in the ding-dongs. Quite a complicated scene in the women's division 3 weeks ago. Tony and Dr. Britt Baker. Ruby needs to take some sort of side. So Tony Storm, Ruby Soho, Dr. Britt Baker. Why does she need to take a side? Just win the match. The Guns. How would you feel if it was just WWE and AEW left in pro wrestling? No other wrestling companies. Would you be okay with that, says Michael? Would I be okay with that? I mean, I don't watch many other companies. The only thing I would say is that those other companies, you know, provide a lot of great talent. You know, there's talented wrestlers that have jobs and learn how to wrestle and hone their craft and then can come into WWE. or into AEW. So, you know, it would be a real shame for all of the jobs that are created. I think it would be a real shame for wrestling, of course, because obviously people go into their local promotions to watch their local stars. Has got to be a good thing for wrestling in general. If you just get down to a couple of companies, then I don't know. I mean, that would be a real shame, wouldn't it? How would you go and watch live wrestling if there was no wrestling companies? You'd have to wait for WWE or AEW to come around. So it's, if I'm being completely truthful, it's not something that would bother me. Like, I mean, like, it's not something that would impact me necessarily because I don't go out to indie wrestling or streaming all the time. And WWE have shown that they can take athletes and build them up and create their own stars. Like Bianca is homegrown. And I think a lot in NXT are homegrown as well. So, yeah, I think I'm pretty sure if you put it on Twitter and put a poll out, like, you know, would it be a bad thing? I'm pretty sure it would be in the high 80s, 90s that it would be a bad thing. But it's, yeah, it'd be bad for, I think, people wanting to see wrestling live. It'd be bad for people having jobs in the industry. It'd be bad for people learning the crafts. And I'd have to think that that would have a knock-on effect. It would have to have a knock-on effect. It might result in wrestling, you know, dwindling down to even lower numbers of people that are interested. You know, as they fill their time not watching wrestling, but doing something else that gets their interest instead. I mean, James Chadwick would just be close to suicidal, I'd imagine. James Chadwick watches about 10 different wrestling promotions every day. He would be the one. There we go. Look, James would be affected. James would be affected. Jack Perry. Where I live, we're surrounded by wrestling, said William. Fighting, brawling, kids fighting. Come here and see for yourself. Tony Schwani on commentary said Ruby Soho has been in AEW for a long time, that she's technically AEW homegrown. Yeah. It's just, yeah. There's things like that where you just, okay. I heard him say that and I was like, okay. I feel like he just needed to fill a bit of time, say something. He wanted to just say something. That didn't feel like it provided much as a comment, you know. Actually, I didn't even know if we might have been at commercial break when he said it, because sometimes they say stuff like that that's a bit out there, like during the commercial breaks. I would days 100 person. I'm with James Chadwick on that, says Davids. I'm fine just watching WWE, but I think AEW being around is healthy for the industry, said Big Time Baxter. Mitchell said Daniels is in charge of talent relations. I get him coming out for a promo with MJF, but honestly, he just slapped a talent unprovoked in a way, says Mitchell. I just don't understand why MJF let him talk, to be honest. I don't understand why MJF, who, that's his segment, this is his show, he's the champion, so why, and he's brought him out on purpose so that he can lay into Bryan Danielson, and he's not done it. He stabbed him in the back. He stabbed MJF in the back. So why did MJF just stand there and like, all right, say what you want to say then, go on. Very kind of the devil, isn't it? It's a very kind devil. So, yeah, I thought that segment was great. And I thought bringing out Daniels was great. And I think Daniels not taking the money is great. But as soon as he said he's gonna win, basically, that's when MJF should have snapped, attacked, and, you know, I think all the stuff that came afterwards, that didn't make sense to me as to why MJF would allow that. Ruby Hobo. The other eye is completely dark. It looks cool. It does look cool. How's the family? How's Kia? They're good, thank you. Kia's fine. She was naughty the other day, though. She's never been trained, so I took her for a walk, and there were some dogs. She went bolting after them, and I was trying to grab the leads, and it went straight through my hand. So I've got like the mark there where the lead went through. There's a little indentation. I've got a nasty like blister on my finger as well, where the lead cut into, because I was holding the lead like this. And so it went down there, around there, and over this finger. I was holding the lead, and it just went as she went running after these dogs. And it was like a thin, wiry lead. So I was like, ah! As it was grating through my hand. I was like, ah! Oh, it stung, man. Stung. I mean, that's around about 4 days ago that happened when I took her for a walk. I've still got the wounds. It was a hero. I was an absolute hero. She's a big dog as well. She's strong. I'm there with like all my might going, trying to stop her from running after these dogs, getting into a fight. She'll fight anyone, man. She'll fight anyone. She doesn't give a flip. She's a big dog that's never been trained. So, you know, other dogs walk past and they're all lovely and everything. Just don't even look. They don't even look at her. They're just, the other dogs are out for a walk. Oh, lovely, lovely, like this. She sees another dog. Oh my God. She's getting worse. She's getting older as well. She used to be just a little bit more naturally disciplined. Whereas now, all bets are off. All bets are off. Boom. Down goes Jack Perry. Brian Cage. Shoulder up. MJF beats up the babyface. Then Danielson comes out after the heel lays out the babyface. Feels like such a repetitive formula that we've seen in AEW for this feuds. Don't lie, it's a mini poodle. Oh, she's been walking around on the table right now. It's only about that big. You have a dog? Yeah, I got a dog, yeah. She's been in a video, old video. It was so old, it was a video predicting the winner of the Greatest Royal Rumble. That's how old it was. She predicted Goldust. I put a load of names on the garden, and she came running down, and she picked one, and she picked Goldust. Stupid dog. So she, not only is she violent, she's an idiot. So she has been in. She was in a figure video as well. Outside, there was when it was snowing, I did a figure video outside, and she features in that. So she has been in a couple of videos. I've had people going, "Oh, bring her on the stream, bring her on the stream." I'm downstairs, right? So she'd have to get downstairs. She doesn't come down the stairs, so she'd have to be carried. She is 45 kg. In fact, actually, I think last time she got weighed, she was 50 kg. She's big, fat, moody. Just like her owner. Shoulder up. Exposed incident. I think my dog is racist. 100% I know that my dog is not racist. 100%. She will go after anything and anyone. No discrimination. I know that much. Which I've got, I'm relieved about, to be honest. Crucifix. She hates everyone equally. Back of the head strike there by Jack Perry. 1, 2, 3. Jack Perry beats Brian Cage. Whoa, 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 whoa. Brian Cage couldn't get it done against Jungle Boy Jack Perry. Is Luchasaurus injured? Do you know what? Where's Luchasaurus? Where's Christian? I haven't seen them like forever. Yeah, Taz has decoded it. Taz has decoded what that means. Apparently it means I want singles golds. Here's Christian. We've not seen him in months. So Jack Perry is going after Christian. Christian is spraying him with something. Marseille is spraying him with Marseille. He's got a can of Mansoir in the other pocket as well. What's he done wrong? I'm sorry. What has he done wrong? Tony Schiavone has said, of course he would stoop to that level. What has he done wrong? He's walked out, smiled at Jungle Boy. Jungle Boy has then gone running at Christian, and he sprayed him in self-defense. Get away, get away. And Tony on commentary is like, of course he would stoop to that level. What, do you want him to get beaten up? So, Christian showing that he's not injured anymore. Kill switch on the entranceway. Can we see your dog? No. Because I'm downstairs and she's not. And she's fat. Luchasaurus and AEW are being sued regarding a lucha mask. Is that true? Luchasaurus is being sued. Is Renee Baguette? She seems a bit quiet. Does this seem quiet? What? Acclaimed. Yep. The Acclaim was screwed out of the tag titles. We don't back down. We're here to announce. Rematch clause at Revolution. So they're going to be in a... I don't understand. Why would you invoke your rematch and put yourself in a match that's a disadvantage? Oh, that was quite quiet. Now it's gone really loud. But hopefully your dad didn't hear you say that she might attack you. He knows that she's trouble. Everyone knows she's trouble. There was arrogance in that can. Yes. Right, commercial break. So there's going to be a 4-way at Revolution. I understand the Acclaimed wanting to be at Revolution, but it does seem a gamble, doesn't it, to invoke your rematch clause and put yourself into a fatal 4-way rather than get a rematch for a one-on-one match. Now you haven't got to just worry about the Guns. You got to worry about 2 other teams as well. They need a new manager. They need better advisors. Because that's silly. I can only imagine the same person that advised them is the same person that advised Austin Theory to cash in his money in the bank on the United States Championship and lose it. I've come to the conclusion that some of these wrestlers are just stupid. They're just stupid. They can't even help themselves. Stupid wrestlers. I meant to say dog, not dad, says Killer Shot. It's all right. It's all right, mate. How do you feel about the show so far? Well, how do you feel about the show so far? What would your score be so far with 37 minutes left? What would you say about the show? MJF dropped another F-bomb. I don't know. I don't know what's on the show, what's on the halftime, what's on the commercial break. I don't know what makes air anymore. So, I don't know. Donald said this show is a 0. Dynamite hasn't been great tonight, said Jojo. Trini said 6. LS Dub said 625. Justin said 6. Travis says 1. Killer Shock said, I feel oozy. Big Time Baxter says 6. Jojo said 5.5. Donald said 0.5. Let Him In said 6. David said 6. Erasure Mind said Mox fluid out of 10. I've got oozy feelings about this show. Smurfy said 6. Marseille Spray 10. Marseille. I don't know why I read it like that. Marseille Spray. Exposing said 5. Halftime scores now. Imagine if this was the halfway point of the show. 5 said Justin. Lone Wolf said 5. Feels like it's there. Lee said 3. MJF's promo was very good, but other than that, the matches have been just fine, said Ellis Dub. Aubrey Edwards, presented by Prime Energy, said, I'm going with a 3. I'm struggling to hang on tonight. Serge said 5.5 with a lot of bloods. Justin said maybe 4. Depends on me. Ledge Killer said 6. David said, I think it's because it's NBA All-Star weekend. Oh, yeah, they've got a basketball. Yeah, it is NBA All-Star this weekend. So we've got Kenny, we got the Bucks. Here's Top Flight and AR Fox. How about we run it back for AEW Rampage Slam Dunk? You guys like to play with balls, but you don't have any of your own. Don was trying to get involved. Rematches made. What was that flash? I don't know. There's a chance it was just a production botch. Right, we've got Kip and Penelope in the ring. I don't know where Dalston is in England. Do you remember when for how long? About 12 months he was in the crowd with a box over his head? Got this plan right. We'll put you in the crowd and we'll put a box over your head, right? And then we'll bring you back and we won't do anything with you. How does that sound? How long have I got to have the box on my head for? 12 months. Genius! Oh. So good. So good. Oh, they've got to add money in the slot to keep the video going. Sabian's looking more Culture Club than Hangman. Come, chameleon. Come and go. You come and go. Right. Oh, it's not Brian Cage anymore. It is Hangman versus Kip Sabian. Kip Sabian. Oh, what was the payoff to the box on the heads? He now doesn't have the box on the heads. I mean, that's a pretty good payoff, isn't it? He had the box on that. This is the story. It's a bit like White Rabbit. It's like really in depth. He had the box on the heads. And then during a match, he got up and attacked someone. And he took the box off his head. And now he wrestles. If you need me to go through that again, I can go through that again. It can get a bit complex. Hangman kind of resembles Brian Cage. He should wrestle with the box over his head. It would suit him, said Erase Your Minds. Right, I think we're going to commercial break. Do you think AEW is setting up Wardlow to be Samoa Joe's retirement match? Don't know. Can't say that that's crossed my mind. Don't know. Are there rumors he's retiring? Was the box all elite? Oh, they couldn't re-sign the box. That's what it came down to. The box wouldn't re-sign. They tried to get the box to be all elite, but it didn't re-sign. And so, naturally, we've had to move on with something different now. It's like when Cody wore a paper bag over his head, said Killer Shock. Yeah, but he did. Do you remember he wrestled? Do you remember he would come down and he would wrestle? And he would do like wrestling matches and he would like hand paper bags out to people in the crowds. Whereas when Kip Sabian had the box on his head, he didn't do anything. He was just in the crowds, he didn't do anything. You could call Kip Sabian a boxer. He was stuck inside the box so long because he wasn't thinking outside of it, said Kyle. It's actually really symbolic and beautiful storytelling. It brings a tear to my eye. The box got future endeavored, said James. I don't think Joe is retiring. I've not heard any rumors, but his contract is up with AEW at the end of the year. Kip Sabian pulling back on the arm here as Hangman tries to get over to the ropes. We've got 29 minutes to go. We've got a women's triple threat, which actually looks like it might be our main event this evening. Ruby versus Tony versus Dr. Britt Baker. Kip is awesome. Awesome. Shots coming in by Hangman. The box went and signed a bigger deal with a bigger company, and it's going to debut on MLW tomorrow. 1, 2, kick out by Hangman. Days is all in. Checked it. It looks like House of Black during the glitch, said JoJo. Women's triple threat. I hate these words. Justin said, I want to thank everyone for your kind words. It's really appreciated. You guys and Days are keeping me out of a funk. Justin, shout out to you, buds. Shout out to you. AEW is going to try and sell the box on eBay for a ridiculously large amount of money, says John. David said the box has a contract with WWE. There's a weird non-compete clause. The box can only be a backstage presence in WWE. It's not allowed to be on screen. It went back because it's got a smaller box that's going to be debuting in NXT. Yeah, love it. We're on the outside. Bray Wyatt is trying on Kip's box. Oh. Scarlett. That's not Scarlett. Penelope. My brain just switched off. My brain just went, bye. Bye. I was like, is that Scarlett? No, it's Penelope. There's someone in the crowd dressed as Dan. I can't talk. It's gone. My brain's gone. It's gone. I'm done. I'm not capable of watching a Kip Sabian match. That's the conclusion I've come to. Judging by this crowd reaction, I don't think this crowd are capable of watching a Kip Sabian match either. Hangman. It's over. It's game over. Here we go. Mess him up, Hangman. Make him humble. It's got him. He's going to reverse it. You could tell that he was having a mental breakdown, mental problems when he was wearing the box. How does MJF debut with WWE? Don't know that he does. I think all this talk is just talk. Hangman Page wins. Vince is going to secretly buy the box to keep his pencil in. He should return with the box gimmick. Look how Hangman is blinking. That's not normal behavior for Hangman. Look at his blinking. It's not normal. The Blackpool Combat Club have come down. They're circling around the ring. Moxley! He's got a microphone. Cowboy. I know you think we've got unfinished business, but we don't. We don't, Cowboy. Stop thinking that. I've got respect for you, but I've got zero fear for you. I know what you're going to do before you know what you're going to do. There's no chance. There is no chance you will ever beat me again. Let it go. Let it go. Let it go. I'm not happy with our last match, and I don't think you are either. I think it ends. Amen. Last man standing. Revolution. This ends. I was hoping you would say that. I was hoping you'd want to go down this dark alley. What was the reason for the Butcher Blade beatdown again? Dark Order are coming out. It's Dark Order. Is this what's left of the Dark Order? Is this it? Just these three now? Did you say he's got no friends? Get out my face, Hangman. look at Moxley's face. He's got Evil Uno in front of him. He's like, what is happening? Evil Uno has come down. He's got in the face of Jonathan Moxley. Dark Order are still employed. Evil Uno getting right in the face of John Moxley. Cowboy. Cowboy. Revolution. Texas Deathmatch. Texas Death. This show is mids. Texas Deathmatch, baby, says Kieran. Texas Deathmatch, yes. Dark Order thought there'd be future endeavors. They're a good comedy group. I like Silver. Silver's come up cool, isn't he? Tony is backstage with Chris Jericho. We got Jericho Appreciation Society. Texas Deathmatch. Lovely. Ricky Starks. Ricky Starks, you keep demanding another match. It's not going to happen. Forget about it. You're not on my level. 2 years of inconsistency. Another run-of-the-mill match. You should have challenged him to First Bloods. You are absolutely annoying, absolutely delusional. The only reason Dark Order have jobs is because of Brody Lee's death. Do you think so? Think so? Don't know. That was good from Jericho. Right at the end, Jericho turned to Tony. Tony was like, oh. He just made Tony jump. It's the funniest thing that's happened tonight. Daisy's favorite type of match, a Texas death match. Actually, don't know if I hate Texas death matches. I don't know. The ones that I struggle with is when we've just got loads of barbed wire and all that kind of stuff. But the thing with barbed wire is that if it's on a bat and it's the one thing you use, you know, and you're constantly teasing that you're going to use it, but you get kicked in the midsection, bat goes flying. So, I mean, that kind of thing. And then eventually you do use it. Like, that is, like, quite dramatic. And you go, oh God, that kind of a thing, you know? But when barbed wire is everywhere, and it's like, into the barbed wire, into the barbed wire, into the barbed wire, like, I've said before, it's not, I personally don't watch it and go, you know what I mean? It's not like, barbed wire, barbed wire, barbed wire, barbed wire, barbed wire. It doesn't, by the end of it, I'm not just like vibrating out of sheer shock. It's not, it's diminishing returns. It's barbed wire. Wow. Okay, that was bad. Into barbed wire. Ooh. Into barbed wire. Okay. Into barbed wire. Into barbed wire. Into barbed wire. Into barbed wire. Like, by the end of it, I'm bored. It's not storytelling. It's just overkill. It's, do you know what I mean? It's like being given ice cream and you love it. And then you get given more. 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 At some point, you're going to throw up. At some point, you're going to be like, I don't want any more ice cream. I don't want any more. I had all the ice cream. I don't want any more ice cream. I feel the same way with barbed wire. It should be there to like, should be like the highlight of a match. It should be like a key part of a match that builds to it, not just like, that's that. But other than that, like, so actually, I don't know if it's Texas death matches I hate or just the way that I've seen them executed. It's probably, there's probably ways that you can book it that I'd actually be quite into. I thought the exploding barbed wire match wasn't too bad, you know. Forget the ending. That's all anyone ever thinks about. But that was the ropes were wrapped in barbed wire, and that was pretty much it. They were inside the ring, and every time they went over to the ropes, it was like, oh, you know. I didn't think that was too bad. The one that I really didn't enjoy was it a lights out match that was like Kenny against Moxley, and it was like, now I'm going to hang you on the ropes. Now I'm going to shove glass in your mouth. Now I've created this bed of barbed wire. I'm going to chuck you in that. Now I've got this baseball bat that's got barbed wire on it. Now I'm going to hit you with a light thing, strobe light thing. Now I'm going to throw you into a light. And it was just, now I'm going to do this, and now I'm going to do this, and now I'm going to do this. That was OTT for me. So it's probably going to be that. It's probably going to be that in it. But there is an audience that enjoys it. I'm just not that audience. So I'm sure someone will get something from it. I would imagine if you want blood, for example, if you're someone that just only watches wrestling because you have to see blood, you can't cope with like wrestling without blood. It's just not even worth your time. I would imagine that if you're that kind of person, it's probably going to be a great match. It's probably going to be a 5-star match, one of the favorites, one of the best you're going to ever see. You're going to absolutely flip your lid. You're going to love it. So, yeah. David said confirmed. Days is not Abdullah Kobayashi fan. Blood on AEW seems forced. I enjoy WWE blood, says Rare Breeds. Back from commercial. Dave in real life, hello, shout out to you. Hope you're doing well, dudes. We got a black screen. We're just waiting to go to our main event of the evening. Here we go. Ruby, 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 Ruby. Ruby Soho against Tony Storm. Again. Oh, last Wednesday. Hook. Stokely Hathaway claims he was injured by Hook last week. Oh, there he is. Look, he's got his arm bandaged up. That's quite a look for Stokely Hathaway, isn't it? Hook broke my arm last week. Dr. Britt Baker. Blood is okay in wrestling, but only if it adds to the storyline. Do you feel the same about Bloods in AEW? What, there's too much? Yeah, I think there's too much. Give me a beer, give me a beer. That's the same as Texas Deathmatch, says Davids. Smurfy said Stokely is stoking up. Is that Hook has been suspended. Hook has been suspended. There's going to be an investigation. Well, the footage is all there. It's clear as day. He breaks his arm. Here is Saraya and Tony Storm. Tony Storm making her way down with Saraya, sticking her finger up at the crowd, saying F you. Who are they going over to? Britt Baker, DMD. They've grabbed a fan. They're going to spray paint the fan. Ruby's coming down. Ruby's coming down. Oh, what are you guys like? Oh, you can't go grabbing fans, guys. She's so exasperated. Hook suspended. Okay, Ruby's going over and... are you all right, mate? I'm sorry. You bought a ticket to the show and you've been treated this way. It's not acceptable. That poor fan. Ruby Soho is here, says Courtney. Has Hook been suspended? He has. He's been suspended. It's big news. Big news. Investigation is being launched. Security guy is just looking at them. He's thinking, I don't get paid enough to deal with this. Tony back in one corner. Here is Jamie. Jamie Hater coming out with Dr. Britt Baker. So Britt Baker in there. In kayfabe, if Tony and Saraya aren't fined and suspended, what is the point of doing that spot? It's to send a message. They don't give a flip. Elistub. They don't give a flip. They run this show, not Tony Khan. You can't suspend them. You want to suspend a superstar as big as Tony Storm? Do you know what that would do to ratings, LSW? They have got Tony right there, mate. Right there. They can do whatever they want. Now that CM Punk's not around, he hasn't got the balls to suspend Tony Storm. That 880-odd thousand that tune in, that'd be 879 next week if he suspended Tony Storm. 87950. But ain't gonna do that. Fighting for every viewer possible. If it was meant to be a shoot, should have sent out security to protect the fan, not Ruby walking down casually to her music. Not only that, but Ruby walking down just shaking her head like, can't take these guys anywhere. Why do we have to put up with this? Or whilst the fan is cowering in the corner. Did the fan come on her own? Where was the partner or family member? I mean, listen, people go to wrestling on their own, but like, it's very unfortunate to get first row tickets, create a Britt Baker sign, go to the wrestling on your own, and then get grabbed by a couple of heels, chucked over the barricade, and almost spray painted. I mean, it's a hell of a night out. Okay. Michael said, can't wait for Cornette to destroy this show. Dave said, Thunder Rosa is only coming back as a Spanish announcer until she is cleared. Ruby Soho walking down the ramp. Oh, brother, not this again. I mean, Ruby is an AEW original after all. You would think she would want to rush down to a longtime fan of hers. I'm going to be honest. This might be one of the worst episodes of Dynamite I've ever seen. Like, the MJF segment was good, but I wasn't a big fan of the ending. I thought the first match where we literally had to watch, was it Sanjay just lying there for ages? Again, we could have been at commercial. Maybe it was longer for me than for you guys. But like that, I mean, that just had nothing to it for me. And I mean, don't forget, like the Jerry Jarrett thing, that originally had me going, oh, I wouldn't have done that. So even with the intros, they managed to find a way to make me go, oh. Then we get to the match and I was like, no, not feeling this. Wasn't into that. And in fact, the in-ring has not been that sharp tonight. I love the Wardlow interview, sit-down interview, I thought was very good. Adam Cole interview, I thought was pretty good. MJF segment was good. Didn't need Christopher Daniels talking for as long as what he did. I think MJF should have attacked him. But other than that, there's been loads that's been like, just really, it's one of the, if you think this is a company that's seemingly really fighting for ratings, really needs to improve their ratings, what have they offered up tonight that's going to do that? I mean, outside of the MJF segment, it feels like such a phoned-in show, such a dialed-in show. Feels like it feels like, I hope we've got something big next week, because this feels like we've just dialed it in this week. We phoned it in this week. We'll worry about next week when we get to next week. Even the crowd. I mean, during the MJF segment, the crowd were loud. I think they're prepared to make noise and, you know, get stuck in. But, like, they just haven't had much to cheer, have they? They just haven't had much to cheer. Honestly, my I don't know what score. Why I'd be like, I just don't know. I just don't know. This show has been in a funk for a while now. It really has been in a funk for a while. I looked at the thing before, and I was looking forward to the Wardlow segment, and it didn't disappoint. So if we're going to find some good things to talk about, then I would say Wardlow, the bulk of MJF, and I thought the Adam Cole sit-down interview. Mark Briscoe wasn't bad, but he's taking on someone that, I mean, it just didn't have anything going for it. Didn't have anything going for that match. It's just very quiet, isn't it? Jojo said, I think they might have dialed it in, given up because of Elimination Chamber on Saturday. Fans are dead. AEW to me, MJF to me. MJF was, the highlight. He such a commanding presence. Let's see how this triple threat goes. Tony gets planted. Ruby charges over to Britt. You can normally rely on Britt to give you something, you know, end the show with a bang, you know. Side kick to the side of the head by Tony on Britt. Britt goes down. Legend Killer says, come on, Britt Baker. If I was Tony, I would bring back CM Punk at Revolution, says John. Might not be that easy, but might not be that easy. EMD is down. We've got Rampage Slam Dunk Friday. We don't, but it's happening. Tony back on her feet as Britt gets over to the ropes. Ruby is going up. She gets grabbed by Tony. Tony is getting rolled up. As she gets rolled up, she delivers a German to suplex to Ruby. Ruby goes out the ring. Look at the crowds. Just look at the crowds. Look at the crowds right now. This is the main event, and look at the crowds. Forearm strike. I kind of want Ruby to win. Her booking is actually worse than hers in WWE, says Calio. Ruby goes flying to the outside. Nice net breaker there by Britt. 2. Shoulder up by Tony. Shoulder up by Tony. The crowd is ruining the show, says WWE and AEW fan. Britt Baker goes down. Ruby going to the outside. She's climbing up. Ruby is in position. She comes down. She's only just come back in the ring. Ruby managed to climb up the ropes, jump down, get punched in the face, and like stunned. And now we've got double submissions being applied right now. Lockjaw. Saraya comes in. Saraya's in there now. Tony Storm takes out Jamie Hayter. Paige Turner. Now Saraya has got some the spray paint. She's she's spray painting the backside of there's next to no paint on there. She hasn't put hardly any paint on. Saraya was like, you're going to want to see this. She sprayed the backside of Toni Storm, but she didn't put that much on. Ruby's picked up the win. This is an absolute car crash. This is an absolute disgrace. This is absolutely horrific. We are going to have serious conversations about at what point we just stop this. This is just absolute trash. Oh my God. That's your main event. That's how you're going to close out this show. Absolute dead, flat crowds. Saraya saying, you're going to want to see this. Doing a bit of spray paint on the backside of Toni Storm. Toni charges over. Like, hip attacks into Britt Baker. I didn't even think she put that much green. She didn't put enough green paint on that it left a mark. I think what they were intending to do was to spray paint the backside of Toni Storm so that she would leave green paint all over the face of Britt Baker. They didn't put any paint on. This crowd is dead. The crowd is absolutely dead. The crowd are just watching this mystified. It's one of the most flattest endings I can ever remember to a Dynamite. I don't know what has gone on there. I have not got a clue what has happened there. There just can't be. In my mind right now, I'm thinking, are there going to be hardcore AEW fans? God bless you, right? That are going to be saying that this is brilliant. Is there anyone that's going to be able to make an argument that that was even just a good show? That was really bad. That was really bad. Honestly, we need to start thinking about whether this is right for us to do these anymore, because I'm a big believer in, like, just if you're going to do streams, do it because you want to watch the show and you want to, see the program and everything. But this program has been struggling for a long, long time. And what it needed something to pick things up as we're heading towards Revolution. They might have just delivered. I think, maybe the worst episode of this year, and one of the worst episodes I've seen in quite a long time. There's no green shoots there. There's outside of MJF, who's always going to deliver you a great segment. And, as I said, the Wardlow, Adam Cole bit, majority of that, faffing around with the fan beforehand, just look cringe. That match was rubbish. And then, you've got this, the crowd are absolutely dead. MJF showed you that crowd was ready to make noise. MJF proved that is not a dead crowd. You give them something to get behind, they will make noise. They were chanting, shut the F up. They were chanting, that's a-hole chants. They were there. This crowd were making noise. This crowd were going. This crowd were ready to get into this show. They have given them nothing to get into there. It's really frustrating. It's really frustrating. It's if we can't watch the show and enjoy it and find more about it that we like, I ain't doing it. I am not interested in watching a show and just sitting here, just hating it, not being entertained, and just finding it flat, finding it just not good. And it's just been that way for so long now, It's been that way for so long. James said maybe get to Revolution and see. It's true. We said earlier, I really feel like they are hopefully trying to get to a reset. Because I think this last reset, I think the last reset did not work. Well, I mean, clearly it didn't work because look at the garbage they've just served up, right? So I think that the last reset of putting the belt on Jamie, putting the belt on MJF, maybe ending a few stories, trying to start a few new stories, like all of that kind of stuff hasn't landed. I did not mean to press that. I was moving my keyboard. So yeah, I think that the last show they tried for a big reset, and I just don't think it's worked. I can only imagine that we're just trying to get through to Revolution to get a new reset. That's all I can imagine. I just can't think what else he's doing. I can't think what else he's doing. I don't understand why this show was not stronger. Why we haven't got more compelling stories being told. There's people jumping in all throughout the stream going, why is, what's going on? Why are the ratings down? Why is the show so flat? It does feel a little bit like he is accepting that right now things are flat and okay, we just need to, it feels to me like we've just got to get through this period. That's the vibe I'm getting. Because you cannot tell me, no one will be able to look me in the face and tell me that this is a good show that's got good booking, that's got momentum, that's, getting somewhere. Like you're telling me this is as good as it gets. This is the best we can do right now. You're telling me this is as good as it gets. This is as good as it gets. This is because AEW has been so much greater than this, so much more exciting than this, so much richer stories than this. You think about like the Wardlow and the MJF story. That was brilliant. And you think about like the Elite, and you think about the Pinnacle, and you think about CM Punk coming in, and you think about all these great things that we've done. And they have done some really good stuff. There's been some really entertaining stuff. Like the Acclaimed and Daddy Ass and the Scissoring and all that starting up. Like, there's been some really good stuff. Britt Baker's been awesome. Watching Jamie Hayter come through has been awesome. Like, it's easy. Too easy to sit here and just lay into it. But there's been some really good stuff. But this show, I mean, it's not just a one-off bad show. I do find every week I kind of go into it with optimism going, this is the week they're going to turn it round. I genuinely believe it as well. Like this week, I've sat here and said, this is a bad week. It really feels like we're just trying to get through a period. We're just trying to get through. So that makes me think, well, maybe next week is the week that we'll pull it up. Maybe next week is the week we'll pick things up, But I've been thinking that for weeks now. Weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. And it'll be next week. But next week. Eric said, now you know why Vince released these people he knew. I can't, I don't know. I don't want to rant. Don't want to. I want to sit here and enjoy it, and I'm just not. So, as I said, I think the best thing to do is to have a very serious think about it. Do we continue with this in its current form? Maybe it's a case that we step away, and once the show does pick up momentum again, rather than sitting here watching shows that are just below my standard, my expectation, and I'm sure they're below many of yours, rather than sitting here and just doing that, we've stepped away from NXT. This isn't just an AEW thing. I've stepped away from NXT when I thought that the standard there wasn't good enough. Stepped away from that, and then we went back to it when I thought that it was looking better, and I'm enjoying that at the moment. Right now, I think I'm in a very similar place here, where these shows are just not good shows, and it seems like that's a general consensus amongst people in the chat, and it also seems like it's a consensus with the ratings at the moment, that these are just not, it's WrestleMania season and Dynamite's getting 800,000. If ever it was, going to be getting like a million plus, you would think it would be around this time, as we've got, a lot of wrestling being spoken about. Even if it's not AEW, it's still WWE. There's still a big spotlight on wrestling, and WrestleMania season, you'd think would be a really hot time. You think this would be a really hot time? But if you're a diehard fan of AEW and you just think, oh man, this guy likes to moan, please just go back and look at this crowd. I'm telling you, this crowd, look at the crowd during the MJF segment, look at the crowd at the end of the show. This is a crowd that was ready, willing, and able to make noise, get enthusiastic, really, enjoy the show. Look at that crowd at the end. Look at that crowd at the end. Those are hardcore AEW fans that have bought tickets, spent money. They've got merch. They've bought tickets. They've gone to the show. They are bored. They are lifeless. There's just nothing there. There's nothing for them to get behind. It's just something is playing out in front of them that they've got no emotional connection to. It's the connection between AEW and its fans at the moment, dare I say, is as wide as it's ever been. I just think that, it just feels like they've lost their way. They've lost their way. They have definitely gone down some wrong roads. And that's fine. It happens to every company at some point. Like, that's not a knock of AEW. But the question is, when are they going to pull it? When are they going to pull it up? The plane's going to nosedive. When are they going to pull it up? When are they going to correct it? Because I don't even care if that show gets 1 million in ratings. I ain't bothered. I don't need a rating to tell me if a show is good or not. I've just watched it. And I know what I watched, and I know what I enjoyed, and I know what I'm taking from it. And it's very little. It's very little. Lance said, I love AEW. I would hate to see you stop doing these streams, but I do get it. Well, I mean, look, if we did, it would only be because I do not, which is going to come to the surprise of a lot of people, but I don't want to come on here and be ranting, raving, and moaning and everything. This is meant to be sit down, have a laugh, watch the wrestling, joke about anything botches or any little bits that go wrong, but like, what did you think of that match? Did you think it was better than this one? And blah, 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 blah. When you're just seeing like flat segment after flat segment, but not even just a one-off bad week, but just consistent, like, it's in the mire. Like, there has to come a point where, like, do you know what? I think it's best for the channel, for my mental health, if we just take that step away for a bit. Not like the door is permanently closed, but just like, maybe it's just, maybe what I'm looking for, and I think what a lot of people are looking for, and what AEW are delivering, we're at very different places at the moment, but maybe there's a chance it can get back again. Don't know. Seems it's so hard to put the finger on where it's gone wrong as well. I mean, obviously during the summer last year, the CM Punk thing was massive, and the Elite being suspended was massive, and it sort of feels like, Moxley helped get us through because he had the belt, and they did a few stories, and I think there was a lot of talk. MJF was a big conversation piece, of course, and it feels like the interest in that, there were so many things going on in and outside, maybe even more outside of the ring, that it got through quite comfortably to the end of the year. But I think at the end of the year, maybe putting the belt on MJF, putting the belt on Jamie Hayter, bringing the Elite back. Maybe this is all what Tony saw as being the big reboots. And it's just not landed, has it? I mean, it's not landed in ratings, and it's not improved like the quality of the show. I just don't know. I don't know what they do next. I really don't know what they do next. I mean, do you put the belt on Danielson at Revolution? Where's the next big credible challenge for Jamie Hayter? If Jamie Hayter is a face now, where's the big monster heel that she's going to take on? Is it Toni Storm? Is Toni Storm being built as that monster heel for Saraya? And Saraya, like, for Jamie Hayter? If that's what we're doing, then, like, we're trying to build, aren't we, at the moment? Maybe we're in, like, a building phase. Perhaps we're building at the moment, and we're just in a bit of a... I don't know. AWC Legend said, do a poll. Well, God, I mean, honestly, if the show's going to be this bad, I just don't want to watch it. It's as simple as that. If it's going to be like this again, I just don't want to watch next week. But I do want to get to Revolution because in my heart of hearts, I'm being very honest when I say, and I've said this a lot, this isn't just me talking now, but in my heart of hearts, I really feel like they're just trying to get to Revolution. I keep saying it because I genuinely believe it. I think they're just trying to get there. Like, I think they've got some plans. Maybe they've got some new faces that are going to come in. Perhaps there's some people coming back from injury. Perhaps there's new feuds that they've got plans for. Just like all the really good creative ideas. I mean, I'm not seeing them right now, so I can only imagine they're being held for further down the road. I can only imagine that they're being held for Revolution, and we get to Revolution, so it feels like we've just got to get to Revolution. That's what it feels like. But, oh my God, this is, yeah, tricky, really tricky. Where the hell is Keith Lee, said Lance. James said, I love all the wrestling companies. That show did suck. It's simple. Maybe you're right. Maybe it's just that one was a bad show. Just a real moment where I just really needed it not to be. I really wanted a good show. I really wanted, let's go. Come on, Revolution, let's go. We've got some good pieces in place here. You know, we've got Bryan Danielson, who's capable of magic in the ring. We've got Jamie Hayter, one of the best young female superstars, you know, that we can really tell some stories with. Put in there with some great opponents. I don't know who those opponents are. Hell, turn Britt Baker. Do it. There is absolutely nothing going on right now. Turn Britt on Jamie. Do that match now. I know it's a match for the future. God damn, give it me now, because you've given me nothing else. Give me Jamie Hayter, Britt Baker feud now, right? Have her attack her. Oh my God. Give me something. Give me something with the Elite. Why are you giving me AR Fox and Top Flight again on Friday? I don't care. Give me something better than that. Give me something more meaningful than that. Give me something that's got more history to it, more depth to it. You know, we just went in a best of 7 between Death Triangle and the Elites. They win that, come through that, and now they're into a feud with Top Flight and AR Fox. Like, that's just not what I would be using Kenny Omega for. You know, over at Wrestle Kingdom, we got Kenny Omega against Ospreay. Like, it was an incredible match. It was an absolute incredible match. It was like 5 stars easy. It was a real treat to watch. But AEW have him, and he's in trios matches and just not getting an opportunity to shine. Have Kenny Omega go solo. I don't even care if he doesn't wrestle that much. Have him do promos. Have him do a singles thing. Book him like you do MJF. But have him doing stuff that can at least result in a match that was like what I saw him have with Ospreay in January. Only in January. It's only January that he had this match. So it's not like he's injured and he's not capable of like things like that, because I saw him do it only last month, like 4 weeks ago or whatever. So like, why aren't you giving me like that? Why aren't we doing that? I just, honestly. And Ricky Starks and Jericho, you know, him having to run that gauntlet the other week, which was just silly. That was just silly. This is silly stuff. I mean, Ricky Starks was red hot, and then they've put him in this feud with Jericho, and it's just been silliness, but not even fun stuff. You know, you could have done a segment like, do you remember, what was that one segment Jericho did where there was loads of presents and his dad came out of a present in AEW? Like, you know, we could have done a mock funeral for Ricky Starks, and we could have had some fun there. You know, like Festival of Friendship was a fantastic segment with Jericho and Kevin Owens. We haven't had any. Where are those types of segments? Like, I know that that's sports entertainment and we're not meant to be doing that. But then why the flip did I just watch a fan get pulled over the barricades and almost get spray painted on. Like, were you telling me that's not sports entertainment? You telling me that the majority of stuff that happens on this show isn't sports entertainment? Like, if you're going to do sports entertainment, at least do it good. At least do it good. Oh. Mitchell said, poll time score. Here comes the poll. Put them in the chat. Here comes the poll. Said, I feel that the Bloodline story has proven that we need more complex Shakespearean story arcs. AEW and their feuds are somewhat dull and simplistic. Do you know, that's probably not helping at all, because that's probably not helping because obviously you've got something really rich and complex to compare it to, haven't you? You know, this is where I think Vince going has been a big problem for AEW, because Vince leaving, when Vince was around, you was comparing it to a certain product, you know, Raw was at a certain level. Now that Triple H is in charge, that level has improved somewhat. You know, it's not been a drastic change. It's not like everything's completely different now, but things just feel a bit tighter, and some of that stupid comedy has been removed. And, you know, there's a bit more, dare I say, credibility around the product over at WWE. But it's not, we haven't reinvented the wheel over there. We've just tightened things. We've made things tighter. We've made things a bit more credible. And we've delivered an incredible story. In fact, a couple. You can't forget how great White Rabbit was. White Rabbit, how are they not doing anything along those lines? I mean, we did see a little flash today. But honestly, House of Black, if it is going to be something to do with them, like a little interruption, if they're going to do something like that, I just don't think it's going to work, because we've tried so many things with House of Black. They're a bit like Lacey Evans. Do you know what I mean? Like Lacey Evans, people are like, ugh. And I think we've got there with House of Black now, because we've tried so much stuff and we've tried to relaunch them so many times. There's only so many times, there's only so long you can keep people's interest before people go, I'm just not bothered anymore. Not bothered. Like, it's just not working. So, you know, it feels like they're trying to do something else again with House of Black now, maybe, but it's too late. It's too late. It's going to have to be something like White Rabbit, really, like, impressive to kind of connect with people. I just don't know that they're going to be able to do it. WWE and the Bloodline story, I think, definitely has kind of shown what can be achieved, and also shown how far short AEW are falling at the moment. It's a real benchmark, isn't it? It's a real benchmark. It's going to be a problem for WWE as well, in all fairness. It's not just AEW's problem. It's going to be WWE's problem, because any stories that come out of WrestleMania, I can see loads of us going, do you remember when we had the Bloodline? That was good. What they're doing now, it's not as good as last year. Do you remember the Bloodline? Like, everything's going to be benchmarked against the Bloodline going forwards, because it's been so rich and well told and so deeply satisfying, with some incredible segments. And everything's going to struggle and be benchmarked against it. So, yeah, it's not just AEW that's going to have that problem. I feel that Bloodline story more complex. AEW and their feuds feel somewhat dull and a little more simplistic, says Matt. James said WWE's not perfect either. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. WWE are still capable of dropping the ball, and we've seen that many times. What I would say, though, is that SmackDown, because of the Bloodline, and because of the intrigue of White Rabbit and the Howdy story and how that's been unfolding, and you can debate whether it's been a good story or not, but the excitement of, oh my God, what's the next step going to be in that story? Like, that has really helped kind of carry that story along, you know? And then, as we said, the Bloodline, who tend to open the show and get involved in the main event, they've been a big part of SmackDown. And that show, 2 hours, with other stars, you know, surprises. We had Karrion Kross come back. We had Braun Strowman come back. We had Tegan Nox come back. Like, since Triple H took over, obviously, he's not been shy about bringing people back. So we've had a nice, healthy stream of surprises but surprises that actually matter to WWE fans. You could make an argument that Tegan Nox didn't, right? But Braun coming back was a big deal. Carrion, if you watched NXT, was a big deal. Emma, again, you could make an argument if that one worked or didn't work. But bottom line is, we were getting stuff. They were doing these things. Whereas, like, just not seeing anything. It just feels very void of creativity. And I can only put it down to the fact that they do have plans, but they've just put them on hold. That's all I can think. That's all I can think. They've got ideas. They know what they want to do. They've got plans. They know the way forward. They know how to correct the ratings. They know how to pull this plane up from the nosedive. It's just we've got to wait for Revolution. That's all I can think. That's all I can think. Right, let's try and read. I want to read some of these comments quickly. How long we've got? I tell you what, 5 minutes. I'm going to read comments because you've heard me ranting. I want to see what you lot have got to say. James said, I've been saying since day one, AEW is sports entertainment. It's not pro wrestling. NXT is good, said Sean. Billy Gunn and the Acclaimed are the only thing that's decent on Dynamite, says Hagen Daz. I guess some people don't know anything, said James. Convince me this was a bad show because I might have been watching a different show, says Jim. Donald said you're trolling, right? Jessen said don't miss the super chat. Days the boat has sailed, said Maggie. WWE still isn't perfect. Nope. Ron said, I'm hoping with Ring of Honor starting up soon, Tony will get the storylines fixed up. There's too many toys for him to play with, and there's no story. Donald said, we need to cut out losses with AEW. Ring of Honor is back on March 2nd, said James. Let him in said the Bloodline story had me in a chokehold. I enjoyed every second of it. Jim said, I'm a wrestling fan first. I support wrestlers, not promotions. Watson said, if WWE had 50 plus years in the ring week in, week out, there would be a lot of noise. Billy Gunn and Jeff Jarrett are entertaining, but we don't need them all the time. Congratulations, bad show. Bloodline and Bray stuff was better than AEW. Whoever produced that last match needs talking to, said Ron. One thing that would help would be to run the commercials between matches and promos rather than interrupting every match with picture-in-picture. The show didn't have a flow tonight, said John. David said, Tony is thinking a lot about Ring of Honor show, I guess, says David. One thing that would help would be to run the commercials. Read that one. Protect the hat at all costs, said Ron. In my personal opinion, WWE is better than AEW. WWE had better stories, entertainment. AEW bleed extreme matches. I love extreme matches, but they do too much. WWE are consistent. Triple H should bring back Rusev and Andrade, said Dylan. Good thing I can take and give it back better. AEW Sports Entertainment, not pro wrestling, and I got a lot of hate for that, says James. The lack of story is a problem. We're getting too many random matches, says Jojo. Admitting a show isn't good doesn't have anything to do with not supporting the promotion, said Trini. I've said for months, AEW are struggling with the storytelling. Tony is not a real booker. He's not a wrestling mind. There's no history in the business, says LS Dub. I've sent you the way how to tie up Roman, Cody, Sammy on Twitter, says Watson. Okay. I'll jump on Twitter afterwards. John said maybe they don't, and unless Revolution becomes the new WrestleMania, one pay-per-view isn't going to right the ship. That's an interesting one. Can Revolution right the ship? Maybe not completely, but it can set the better course. Do you know what I mean? It can set the right path at least and put some pieces in place, and then the follow-up Dynamites can fill in the rest, you know? So I feel that at least Revolution, I'm hoping will give us that. But I don't know. Look, the fallout of this show is going to be very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. I'm really genuinely interested to know what AEW fans like really thought about this one, how Twitter reacts to this one. I'm genuinely interested because this one did feel like this one. I mean, maybe it was just because of the final match, which just really underwhelmed. Maybe it was because I was watching the show and there was just quite a few segments in there, like the first match where, as I said, they were just holding Sanjay Dutt for so long. And I think it was just meant to be a funny spot, but it just looked stupid and it just looked silly. And I don't think it set the evening off onto the right tone, the right path. Like, I think this crowd wanted something to get their teeth into and get behind. And I just don't think that first match set the right tone. And then, like, you go into it and you just see the crowd just not engaging. Like, it just did not grab the crowd. Just think they managed to alienate the crowd. They managed to not bring the crowd along, and there was not much for the crowd to get their teeth into. Definitely moments, as I said. I mean, like, the Briscoe match is all right. I don't think it's anything special. I don't think it's anything amazing. It's all right. And then, like, the MJF promo and the backstage promos. But literally outside of that, I could have left everything else. And for a 2-hour show, like, and it needs to be better than that. And, you know, you need better stories. You need better feuds. You need, like, better creative. And it's just, that hasn't been there, has it? I feel like I'm going around in circles, repeating myself. We'll see. We'll see what the reaction is to this. At the moment, we will be back for next Wednesday. But, I mean, I am definitely close to being like, maybe it's better we don't do AEW. Maybe it's better we just, you know, take that step away, see what happens. If it gets back to being good and we can get back to doing fun streams, which is what I want to do, then we can come back to it. But I don't have an interest in doing like what Jim Cornette does. I have no interest in watching a show just to rip into it, because honestly, I've got a better way to spend a few hours than watching a show that I'm not going to enjoy. So we'll see. At the moment, we'll look to do next week, but I'll be very interested to see what the fallout of this is and see what the general consensus is in the wrestling community. Right, we're done. Awesome. Appreciate the support. Hope you got some out of it. If you did, brilliant. If not, don't worry. We're, you know, I think you can see that this was a bit of a frustrating one. And we will be back on Friday for SmackDown. Awesome.